welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Dr. Greg Show, December 16th, 2025, daylight version, non-nocturnal, human hours, working stream, co-working, whatever you want to be, wherever you are, however you are. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. We have so much to get to, so much stuff. What's up, Joey? Nice to see you, brother. What did I do with my degree in microbiology? So basically, microbiology is kind of like my team, and if I'm like a football team, you know, like I'm on the microbiology team, but within that space, within that team, my position on that team is a molecular biologist. So I change genes and genomes around and try to make organisms more efficient to make different types of proteins. So that's what I do. And I basically I'm a scientist for biotechnology companies, and I've worked with plants before, making new plant species. Well, new strains, and then also with microbes too. So working with yeast, and I I just worked with Krelox, actually. That's so funny. That's funny. Nice. That's beautiful. Krelox is very interesting. I hadn't worked at it before, but they wanted something that was patent free, and we worked with Krelox. Krelox is invented late 1990s DNA editor. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, I work as a research scientist for biotechnology and for other companies and stuff like that. So that's what I do. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you. We have lots to get to. Lots of news. What's the genetic difference between autism and ADHD, since both are polygenetic? So it's just going to be different genes and different mutations across multiple genes. You know, we don't really understand them yet. We don't understand the molecular mechanisms of something like that. It's very complex, you know, the human brain, and you can't really, unlike microbes, you can't do a ton of different knockouts for different genes for humans, right? You can't just to better understand the mechanisms. So we kind of just have to use, it's called GWAS, genome-wide association studies, and that can be kind of messy because basically every mutation is not the same, and you can kind of have problems with that. So I was going to ask what you use to read new articles and publications. Stork app is usually what I use. Storkapp.me. That's usually what I use in order to get like an email blast. And that's what I, so you can just like put in your, search terms. You could put in your ideas on like what you want to learn about, and Stork will just send you papers that are relevant that it finds. But then also, it's really cool. Every month, it actually gives you a blast of the most impactful papers for your field that you have. So this is actually how I found out about CRISPR in 2013, when I think it was DiCarlo et al. 2013 came out. And so that's how I found out about it. And it was incredible. It's very easy to follow trends in a subject or in an entire field when you have like an email blast setting up. They almost seem to make a narrative that in women they are not one and the same. I mean, maybe Dusty Boots. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, men and women are remarkably very similar because we both act on a single X chromosome. you know? So it's like huge things that are, um, you know, like that. I mean, we're going to have, yeah. The only subscription that I have is with my AAAS membership with Science Mag. That's the only one that I actually keep and upkeep. Yeah. So Science Mag is amazing, and everything else you can kind of get normally. So ResearchGate is okay. I think that ResearchGate is good, but you can have weird um, stuff. I've had really bad stuff posted there, and you're kind of like, this doesn't sound good. I mean, it's kind of like the whole social media for researchers kind of thing. And you can find PDFs there, and you can actually you can message people on ResearchGate a lot easier, and you can request the PDF for their publications. And I do that regularly, so people will about every month I just go through and cull all my notifications on my ResearchGate and just send out the PDF. So it's definitely a good way to do it. But yeah, Dusty Boots, look into X chromosome silencing. This is actually kind of an interesting point. I don't know if a lot of people know about this. In inactivation. Yeah, so this is a really interesting part of nature where basically, like, if you were born with XX chromosomes, like only one of those X chromosomes is actually going to be active. The other one is going to be inactivated. So that's kind of interesting. Hey, Ducray. So yeah, really cool stuff. I actually was in a seminar once, and this researcher was studying X inactivation, and they were doing it by X, Y, X, X, Y, X, 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 Y, X, 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 X. They were really trying all these different types of, chromosome. Yeah, dude, it's really, really interesting. Yeah, exactly, Char. So there's lots of different types of stuff. So yeah, basically, Ducray, if you are born with XX chromosomes, only one of them is going to be active, and how and why, and the mechanism why one of those chromosomes is completely inactivated is studied. So it is very interesting. So yeah, that's what happens. That's what's going on. Okay, cool. I didn't know what bar buddies. I don't know what that is. But cool. All right, guys. Well, we are currently. CRISPR is a beautiful thing, Shawnee. I think that is. But the cool thing about CRISPR, and we have had. It's important to realize that we have had molecular tools before CRISPR, right? We have DNA editing capabilities before CRISPR. What made CRISPR really unique is the ability to do it so quickly. That's the wild thing. Before with like talons and Crelox and that kind of stuff. I mean, you're basically, you're cloning, you're doing a lot of work, molecular work that might be months, half a month. I mean, sorry, half a year maybe. If you're doing like zinc finger nucleases and stuff like that, that's really, really old. But here with CRISPR, because you're only changing out a 20 base pair sequence, the guide RNA sequence. So, and then the entire CRISPR guide RNA. I mean, it's originally 3 RNAs, but it's actually combined into one guide RNA. That was the big breakthrough that the CRISPR paper for Zhang out of the Church lab. That was the big thing, making it all on one plasmid and making it easy. And basically, you just put the guide RNA in there, and you can have your everything all set up. So you just need to change those 20 base pair sequences, which is trivially easy with PCR. And once you do that, I mean, we're talking. I had one experiment where I ordered the primers 10 p.m. I come into my lab desk, 10 a.m. primers are sitting right there. I PCR the new guide RNA sequence on. 2 hours later, I am doing the in vitro transcription. That takes another hour, 2 hours. and then I'm cleaning up the RNA, and then I'm doing the transformation the next day within 24 hours. So instead of months, we're talking literally like a day. So, and then on top of that, I wasn't just doing one guide RNA sequence, I was doing a dozen at the same time. So just really cool. Thank you, Osborne. Um, so that's a really, really cool, really fast. And on top of that, CRISPR is really cool because there's different parts that you can actually adapt and evolve. So, so basically, CRISPR-Cas is a two-part system that has a this a guide RNA sequence that we were talking about, right? So the guide RNA sequence, that loop right there, that's the one, that little handle that actually gets put into the protein Cas. And the Cas can actually be evolved and changed. So like what David R. Liu does, for example, is that he actually changes he evolved a new different type of Cas that would actually only make single nucleotide changes. And then it just has high more specificity. It has a different ability, doesn't do the double-stranded break. So instead of like a scissors that's cutting both of them, double-stranded breaking, or you can actually have ones that have nickase, a little sticky end, but his can just change single pieces at a time. And then on top of that, this entire Cas nuclease, you can actually attach things to it. So you think of it as this guide RNA is zooming around. It's kind of like your heat-seeking missile, and then you have like this interesting Cas9 like payload, and then you have something else that you've attached to it, and you're like putting it all there right where you want it to be. So it's very, 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 very cool. That is why the modular capability of CRISPR-Cas, the ability to evolve it, the fact that there's a lot of different types of CRISPR-Cas systems, guys. There's a lot of different types. There's split CRISPR-Cas systems, where you have two different proteins that come together in order to make the thing. This is CRISPR-Cas is the system that bacteria used as their immune system for the longest time. They evolved in order to use and take snapshots of invaders, and they took a little piece of their DNA, put it in their genome, and that's what it is. That's what the clustered, regularly interspaced, short polydromic repeats are. In between those repeats are the guide RNA sequence, and you have that 20 base pair nucleotide sequence that it uses, and that's what it is. That's what's so cool. I totally agree, Stephen. Yeah, it is still in its infancy. We're still understanding it. Microbiology is still in its infancy. I think, in a good way, I think microbiology is the final frontier of science. I genuinely do believe that, because we have explored the surface of Mars more than we have explored the microbial diversity of life. We have less than 1% that has been sequenced, cultured in the lab. We have nothing. We know nothing, basically, of microbes. Think about the microbes that are at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Think of the microbes that are underneath the oceans, right? Or inside the mantle, think about that. So it's really, really cool to think about the different types of proteins, the different types of regulatory systems, checks and balances. Those are all can be utilized as biotechnology in the future. And from that, we have medicines, we have new materials we can make, we have new fuels we can use, we have new food we can eat. And it's just, there's so much possibility, so many possibilities. I think the future for humans in order to live sustainably and renewably on Earth is microbiology. I think that's just where everything is going to go. We're going to have that's going to be how we produce basically everything. All of the food, fuel, and the food, fuel, and materials that we need in order for life are going to be made in fermenters with microbes and stuff like that. Because you can just it's more efficient, way more efficient. You don't have externalities, you don't have seasons that can impact your productivity. And with engineering approaches with fermentation, you can dial it into like the percentage point, right? Like it's really, really, really well done. And yeah, I think that's the future, man. That's what we're gonna be. So, but thank you guys for everything. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the heart me's, guys. Appreciate you. Synthetic microbiology will be. Do you mean like new different types of organisms, like for the like a synthetically made like minimal organisms and stuff? That Nat Geo Kids hat vibe. Yeah. Yeah, I got this from the San Diego Zoo. I love it. My family got it for me for my birthday present. So I love it. Um yeah. I think you know, and someone recommend was talking about the roots and the gut microbiome, and that's a huge thing. I mean, we have basically that at the same time, guys. What a time to be alive in our lifetimes. This is just truly wild if you think about it. In our lifetimes, we have um, we have CRISPR, obviously 2013, 2008, Doudna and Carpentier discovered CRISPR. Um, but then kind of at the same time, sequencing by synthesis was developed. So this is the ability for next generation sequencing to actually sequence um, millions of different organisms in the same culture. So before we had to separate everything out into single cultures, isolated single cultures for Sanger sequencing. But now, because of next generation sequencing and sequencing by that's the technology, but the ability to do that and the term and how it's done is sequencing by synthesis. So why every new nucleotide that binds to the DNA, there's a new fluorophore that is emitted, and that basically allows verification and checks and balances to be happening and to make sure that we're sequencing the right thing. And that is how allowed us to understand the world around us is mostly microbes. How influential microbes are. So you have the root microbiomes of plants, which play a huge impact in nitrification. So nitrogen is nitrogen gas in our atmosphere. There's a lot of it, but it's very that rate of basically assimilating the nitrogen, which has those three strong bonds. The diatomic form of nitrogen has three strong diatomic bonds. It's very hard to break those, right? Lots of energy required to break those bonds, and it does it really well. Nitrifying bacteria. So it does it so well that plants have created little homes and little apartments for nitrifying bacteria inside of its roots. So inside of these little nodules, the nitrifying bacteria will actually grow, and that will allow the assimilation to happen right near it, and that actually makes nitrate, basically, and that plant can then use the nitrogen to grow. So super important to have a healthy root microbiome if you're a plant. It's very important for productivity. And we learned recently that these microbiomes in ecosystems, and specifically in like a forest, for example, the trees will communicate to one another by sending micronutrients down into their roots, and therefore those root microbiomes will communicate to one another, like about stresses or things that are happening, and then the other neighboring trees and the other neighboring plants will use that information in order to flow nutrients to people that or sorry people plants that are down bad, basically, that let's say that they found through radiocarbon dating, and they basically put a radio labeled dye in a down and saw that it was actually going to a clear cut tree trunk. So the trees were actually sending new nutrients to a tree that had been cut down, trying to kind of like save it. Yeah, it's very sad actually, but yeah, the plants communicate stress to one another. Basically, it's very cool. It's very cool. Plants are incredibly adapt. Incredibly cool, man. I genuinely love plant science. I think its botany is amazing. The fact that they can't move, the fact that plants can't travel makes them, all their forms of communication and self-defense like that really even like cooler. Our spruce tree slowly died a few years after the maple tree was cut down. Huh. I wonder, Terry, that's interesting. I mean, Heather, they kind of do. Yeah, I mean, they know, like for example, fresh cut grass is the smell of them giving off like signals to other plants in the area that they are experiencing some type of trauma. Whether or not they have a neural system, neurons to like assimilate that pain and to know what's actually happening. I obviously not, but they know that they are experiencing damage, right? They know that something is happening to them that is, very bad, that they wanted to talk to other plants about and say, hey, get your defenses up, man. Yeah. Yeah, Heather. I mean, plants are really cool. Plants are really cool. Oh, yeah, exactly, Heather. That's, yeah, fresh. Yeah, exactly. People don't know that. Yeah. People don't know that. I'm sorry about your loss, Terry. Yeah, a nice tree is amazing. Yeah, science is amazing, guys. It's very cool, very cool. And I just actually posted a story today on my TikTok. Check it out, guys. There's, for the first time, we actually are understanding that thermogenesis, which is a process in which plants create heat. Basically, they signal to this beetle that, hey, I'm about to, come, get your pollen, basically, right? And they attract pollinators by giving off heat. So it's a very, very cool thing. And the beetle actually has these heat induced neurons that they can actually use to attract to notice infrared. So they're using that infrared in order to look for that heat generation by the plant. So it's kind of like an ancient form of communication between plants and animals that we were just like barely understanding now for the first time. So we understood that thermogenesis happened. It's evolved, dozens of times, but the fact that plants are actually communicating with that directly to an animal in regards to pollination is like a new form of communication that we're just understanding. So it's very cool. Very cool. I'm sorry, Heather. I'm sorry. You might as well be an omnivore. That's how I rationalize it, at least. I don't know. I don't know. Hi, Christine. Yeah, guys, I'm doing a consulting gig tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. They're in Germany, so I gotta do a call early. So I gotta get up at like 5. So I figured we can just do the show early today, and there you go. The woody succulents also give up a good smell when you cut the stems. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, anything that we think, that we are doing the best at as humans, there's probably another animal somewhere that is doing it better, if not better, or the same level as us. Humans have evolved the ability to do, pontificate and use our frontal lobes and create new technologies and understand the world better. But everything around us is as evolved as we are. That's a really important concept that people need to understand, is that like everything else is just as evolved as us. So the organisms that have survived this long have so a long successful chain of survival of the fittest, right? And we live in a world with winners, and they're winning for a good, for some reason, right? They've created new ways of adapting and communicating, because 99.9% of all animals that have ever existed are extinct now. Like, we are the 0.1% of animals that are still here. It's like this survival of the good enough. Yeah, yeah, Ducre. I think that that's a good point, a good way of putting it too, because survival of good enough is, it. There are lots of errors that go forward, right? Like, there are lots of inefficiencies that are inside of nature that we kind of see and we know, but that survive because of they're just they're the fittest of the surrounding capability. It's like, so. All right. I wonder how long we will last. I mean, humans have been around for like 300,000 years. So, um, yeah, 300,000 years, I would say. So there you go. It's, I don't know. Cyanobacteria has been around for 3.8 billion. So there you go. um, I don't know. I think that's impossible to know, for real. I think like we'll have like some type of, Ray Kurzweil's like singularity thing where we kind of like get uploaded into technology, and computers will probably happen at some point, and then that'll be kind of like a new way. But um, yeah. Um, Maybe we'll be like passenger pigeons, Ducray. Instead of like sharks, we could be like passenger pigeons, passenger pigeon was like the third most prolific bird species in North America. And then people just got the idea that they could eat them. And it caused a critical collapse. And now they're extinct. And then within like not that long, man. You should check it out. Yeah, the passenger pigeon extinction is actually pretty wild. It was like to go from um, hi, Greg. How's it going? Is an extinct form of pigeons that was endemic to North America. Its name is derived from the French word passenger, meaning passing by, due to the migratory habits of the species. Do 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 do. Passenger pigeons were hunted by Native Americans, but hunted intensified after the arrival of the Europeans, particularly in the 19th century. Pigeon meat was considered as a cheap food, resulting in hunting on a massive scale for many decades. There are several factors contributing to the decline and subsequent extinction of the species, including shrinking of the large breeding populations necessary for preservation of the species and widespread deforestation, which destroyed its habitat. A slow decline between the 1800s and the 1870s was followed by a rapid decline between 1870 and 1890. In 1900, the last one was confirmed shot in southern Ohio. Yeah, it was super populated. The pigeon migrated in enormous flocks, constantly searching for food, shelter, and breeding grounds, and was once the most. Oh, it was the most abundant, and was once the most abundant bird in North America, numbering around 3 billion and possibly up to 5 billion. And now it's extinct. So, yeah, pretty wild. Pretty wild, man. All right, guys. Well, we are covering the decimation and the implosion of the Republican Party. I know. Hi, Marissa. How's it going? And so we covered last night how this started. The Tim Pool, Fuentes, Candace Owens grift kind of started with the after Charlie Kirk. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about it again. Who's a Tim Pool again? It's a Pim Tool. That's who he is. He's a big Pim Tool. That's what he's. Tim Pool is a bot Russian content creator who grifts as an American, but really makes money off of the destruction of the United States. So that's what actually that is literally what he does. That is his job, and that's not even an exaggeration. That is like an actually. It's not even my opinion. That is a factual statement. Only if I got $10,000 per episode, guys. Imagine that. I would say anything. I would say anything for $10,000 an episode. He is a podcast bro, yeah. He was having a meltdown share, yeah. And so is Candace Owens. Candace Owens is not on a normal, guys. He's not on a normal one. She is not on a normal one. And yeah. Nobody does, Heather. He is stuck to that beanie. Dude needs to just go bald and just live with it. I don't understand that. I don't understand guys that are going bald just to shave it off. Hey, user. Yeah, I can't do tonight's stream late because I got an early morning thing tomorrow. So we're just doing the show early, the nocturnal version, the daytime hours, the co-working stream, the getting your podcast in the car while you're picking up your kids. Yeah, that's what we are. Because he has no beanie in the video. No, he does. No, they like to use that picture of him without the beanie because it makes him really frustrated. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Duke Ray. Yeah, exactly. Before 12. Or we're still before 12. You know what I mean? We're still before 12. All right. So we are relishing, ladies and gentlemen. I think genuinely though, I think again, we had some questions. All right. We are, ladies and gentlemen, here I still maintain, okay? We must lead with compassion. We must lead with love. We are trying to help people up. We are not trying to push them down, right? But these people, right? This right here, what we're talking about right here, we are relishing in the fracture and the schism of these disinformation agents themselves, right? These people grift and make money off of the destruction of the United States. And that is what we are relishing in, right? We want the best for our countrymen and our fellow countrymen. And that means Republican voters. And they are being exploited and they are being lied to. And I genuinely do wish the best for them so that they can get out of that rut. And I hope that they come to the light and that they can see the grift for what it is. And but we have to remember that they're being exploited, right? And we are too. Democrats are being exploited too. We're all being exploited at work. Our profits are being stolen from us at work. We don't have it's harder and harder to live in the country as billionaires take more and more and more and leave less and less for everyone else. So I genuinely do wish the best for them. And but we must be absolutely relentless for the disinformation agents themselves, right? What was the Twitch streamer Busy mentioned yesterday? Ian Carroll. Ian Carroll was our, honestly, it's always fun to find a new guru, people. It's a new guru, that I did not know about. But yeah, on our search to understand why people are more conspiratorial, nowadays we found another one, yet another guru, to better understand the world and to tell you the truth, because nobody else is telling you the truth except for me. That's why you have to give me all your money. That's why that nobody understands what's going on except for me, guys. So that's why you gotta take your simple greens, and that's why you gotta listen to my podcast. Come on, guys, come on. When I give the PDFs, we talk about reports, we talk about SCOTUS oral arguments, we talk about SCOTUS decisions, right? We talk about 300-page PDFs, right? That's what I'm giving you, right? And I actually really enjoy the fact that there are a lot of people in the chat and that actually support us, support the stream, that don't agree with me. I genuinely do like that. This isn't we don't have to have dogmatism here. We're not ideologues. I genuinely love that people can be, and because we do actual primary source reading, we do get people that form their own opinions from the documents that we read. That's great. I love that. That's what I relish in. Okay, I think that is amazing. That is how we progress as a society. That's how we understand people. Because then you can say, wait, we actually read the same report here. So what paragraph are you thinking about? What are you saying? What do you think here in order to come to that conclusion? We actually have some reference point that we can talk to because we agree and we understand reality the same when we actually read the same primary source material. But these people, right? These are gurus, right? These are gurus. These are people that are telling you what to believe. They have Candace Owens is creating a narrative in her head through dreams that only she has. Literal dreams, ladies and gentlemen, of that she has gotten. I do not have access to her dreams, but apparently her dreams are manifesting the future. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on, right? So, my point is, be skeptical of anyone that sits there and tells you how reality is and what it is, right? And I will never tell you to follow me. I will never tell you, oh, that's completely AI filtered there, Renee. I don't know if that's not her real picture. I do not want you to adopt my viewpoints. I don't want you to be a carbon copy of me. I think that's weird, okay? I think it's weird when people say they're a Marxist, for example, because that Karl Marx is just a dude. Can you imagine if someone called themselves a Dr. Gregist? I would be like, no, don't ever do that again. That's very odd. That's like, please don't. You know what I mean? That's just weird, guys. That's just weird. Do not follow human beings, right? We're trying to think critically and understand the world together so that you can form and understand your own way of reality, right? And that is like, I'm not showing you what to think, I'm showing you how to think, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Genuinely. But that's only for me. That's what works for me. That's what I like to do. Maybe you like to do something else. That's totally fine. But please just read for yourself. Read primary literature. Read primary documents. Read primary decisions. It's in English. You know how to speak. If you can understand my voice right now, you can understand English. Try it. Read it for yourself. Critical thinking, exactly. Like legitimately. Don't you ever, user. Don't you ever. We are Mavas. No, legitimately. And that's what I say. I say to the mods too, constantly. I am like, you guys, fly. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you. Do your own thing. You have my full confidence, and I think that people need to be empowered. You know what I mean? So, well, we're talking about Rumpled. We're talking about it. So we're setting it up, okay? We're talking about an hour-long video that we were talking about last night, and we're trying to understand it and put in context of what's actually going on. So that's what it is. Sorry, dude. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna talk about it. That's what I do. So if you don't want my opinion, then and you just want to watch this video, just go. It's Too Lazy to Try. Candace Owens is going scorched earth. You can just watch it. I mean, that's totally fine with me. Thank you, Quang. Thank you for being that. Okay, thank you, user. See, there you go. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for appreciating what I have to say, I guess. Okay, all right, we'll start. Oh, not again. What's happening? Oh, phew, it's muted.
Charlie's at one.
Okay.
Trying to figure out what happened.
This is Barry Weiss, guys. So Barry Weiss.
On that day, I'm not going to stop unless Erica Kirk asks me to stop, as I have said.
The podcaster Candace Owens. Okay.
So this is Barry Weiss. So she is the founder of the Free Republic, I think it is called. Yes. Yeah, exactly, Ducray. Yeah, I love when you guys call me out on stuff. We all learn together. I'm wrong all the time. I love being wrong because it's the first way and the first step in learning, right? I genuinely do love being wrong. If something is being elucidated, then I can learn. So this is Barry Weiss on the left-hand side, and she is the founder of the Free Republic. It's just another one of those like, independent thinkers, not tied down to social media. No, sorry, not tied down to traditional media, and we're going to tell you the truth kind of thing. So, and she actually runs CBS News now, which is wild. I can't believe it. So I wouldn't say Barry Weiss is MAGA Republican, but she's one of those like centrists that leans right. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but nowadays, if you are a centrist and you are calling yourself a centrist, and you are an enlightened centrist, you are right leaning. I'm sorry. I'm sorry in chat. I said I'm not going to be an ideologue, but I'm just saying, just be real. If you are okay and you are seeing the things that are happening on the right-hand side and you are tacitly approving what's happening right now in the government, therefore you are right leaning. Okay? Don't just own it. All right. And the problem with Barry Weiss is that she's not owning it. She's sticking with this. I'm a center independent thinker, and I don't think that that's true. I think that is lying. Oh, this is a play that's exactly what Bill O'Reilly did. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I could see that.
At one time, a friend of Charlie's. At one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now? Stop.
So I made a cut for this. Just watch her face real quick. Watch her as she starts out. Watch her face on the right. Okay, we're gonna do it again. Just watch as I'm not gonna pause it. Just watch her face on the right. Okay, 3. If you're just staring away, look at your phone right now. Look at the person on the right. 3, 2, 1.
Dr. Candace Owens. Okay. At one time, a friend of Charlie's. At one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's it. That's all I have to say.
She's scowling.
So Erica would like me to stop lying, and I would like to honor that. Okay.
Oh.
I can only honor that.
All right. Well, she says she's going to stop lying, guys. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. It's been great. So you're great Dr. Greg show. That was an amazing time, guys. Dude, that was really good. Thank you for coming in. Top donators of the day, Ducray, Island, Heather Things. That was it. That's it, guys. Candace Owens is going to stop lying. Thank you, everyone. All right. See you guys. Sorry. That was it. I thought that was it. I thought that was it.
Erica is more explicit in terms of what I have lied about. What did I lie about?
Oh,
All right, so it looks like Candace
damn.
Owens is
I
never
shouldn't
going
have
to let this
paused. I shouldn't have.
investigation go, and she doesn't seem to care what anyone thinks. Like now,
No, Quang, I'm not. I have something to do tonight. I got early tomorrow morning, so I can't. So I'm just doing it. Augie will. Hey, if you like the Constitution, you're okay with me, you know.
almost everyone's speaking out against her too, because Erica clearly wants her to stop. But Candace, she probably loves it. Like, there's no way she's going to give it up now. Like, this is just giving her even more fuel. After Erica called out conspiracy theorists, Candace made a video before she went live, and she had this giant smile on her face. She's like, yep, that was about me. Then she went live and had one of her biggest shows yet, and she started attacking Erica.
2.4 million in 2 days? Oh my gosh, guys. Guys, I'm just saying, okay. Look, as a Republican streamer myself, okay, we are the biggest Republican stream on TikTok. We are explicitly Republican, pro Republican Party, everything. Just we are so, and we're for vaccines because Trump is. You know what I mean? He. That's the only reason why. And we love Trump here. We love him. We love everything. Thank you.
I give her credit because this was obviously going to turn everyone against her. After this show, like, all of Twitter was just people calling her evil and a demon.
Evil demon.
Which, of course,
Oh,
makes
this is
the
a
conspiracy
demon.
theorists think Candace is just getting close to the
gosh.
truth. And that's why people are speaking out. You know, they're scared that she might discover the secret trapdoor that the MK Ultra beekeeper cult used to assassinate Charlie Kirk with a blow.
That wasn't okay. So that's not a hyperbolic thing. She thinks that there's something with bees and a conspiracy with bees and MK Ultra and all that kind of stuff. Exactly, Leaf. No, this is exactly right. She is anti-Semitic to her core, and Fuentes and Tucker Carlson, they are all like truly anti-Semitic, and the hatred that they're stoking is pushing this stuff. Absolutely.
Blow dart.
Augie Dog, I love all that too. I love science. I love empirical data. I love people making their own choices. I love due process. I totally agree with you, brother.
So when everyone came
Hi,
out
Michelle.
at once and condemned Candace, her fans are like, oh, it looks like the script went out, and now everyone's being paid to go after Candace because she's telling the truth. I mean, the people going after her aren't really helping much. You know, these people don't know how to handle this, which I think is hilarious that Candace is actually causing a ton of problems. That's why I'm just like, hey, let the best grifter win. You know, the gloves are off here. This shit is just getting uglier and uglier and even more personal. Like, we had one of Candace's lackeys, Milo Yiannopoulos, claim Charlie Kirk was about to divorce Erica and was secretly gay. Then people made the claim Candace Owens' husband is secretly gay and they don't live together. And then one of the Turning Point guys said Candace Owens' husband should divorce her. So then she called him out for being a swinger. And then also Tim Pool was thinking about suing Candace because she said his brother one time shot at his house. And then another person might sue Tim Pool because he said she smelled bad.
What?
So this is like middle school level shit going on here. It's amazing.
You smell bad?
So even though Candace is a complete nut job, the chaos she's causing is impressive. I've never seen anything.
Look, it's the terrain theory. It's all the best terrain, basically, Renee. It's, you know, there's the best terrain that everyone wants to be in is within my theory, and that is why it's always the best. And that's what's going on.
Like it. People are losing their shit over this. And
I was hanging out with Don Jr. last night. I'm telling you guys, we're a Republican only space, okay?
like I said, to call out Erica takes balls. Like after the clip of Erica's performance on CBS came out, Candace is like, listen, I'm not talking to the widow here. I'm talking to the CEO of Turning Point. And I
Oh, the
want answers.
CEO.
That is what we mean when we say none of this is passing the vibe check with Turning
Vibe
Point
check.
USA. There's no clear answers. There's mockery. There's laughter, but there's no clear answers. And the mockery and the laughter is not working.
How dare you?
Neither is this idea that, well, now the widow has spoken. We're not dealing with the widow. We want the CEO and the chairman of Turning Point USA to answer.
We don't That's wild. She's like, I don't care about Charlie Kirk now. I want the whole organization. Like, dang, dude. Like, just leave him be. Poor guy, man.
Okay? If you can't compartmentalize, then I don't see how you're going to be able to lead this organization in the future, because this is why there are many people who do not believe that women are equipped to lead companies, because what you are watching here is an unbelievably emotional response that is absent of any logic, okay?
Oh.
If you really care about your team, answer the questions.
So this is the funniest shit ever. You know, listening to a woman who runs a company tell us that women aren't able to run companies, unless maybe Candace is secretly a man. Have people looked into that? You know, I think there should be an investigation
Just asking questions.
I mean, there's always just so much projection from Candace. Like, she also said Erica is too emotional and not thinking logically. But Candace is always going based off of her feelings, emotions, and vibes. She used that word in the beginning of the clip. So it's like everything can always be applied to her. But Candace is right. Erica Kirk needs to learn how to compartmentalize.
Don't try to like mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of this multi-million dollar subsidiaries. Not a good idea. Okay, it may work in PR world. You guys, I know how it's an obvious PR campaign. It's never been more obvious of a psychological operation. Every single person that has been telling us to stop asking questions all make the exact same video within 4 seconds of each other, being like, whoa, Erica Kirk shuts down the No, she didn't even respond to one of the conspiracies.
Not good enough.
She gave us emotion.
Dang.
She gave us emotion. She said, I'm a mother, I am a wife, and we never asked about whether she was mother or wife. We want to know if she is a CEO and a chairman. And a CEO and a chairman has to compartmentalize, okay? Does not get to respond and say, that's my family. Okay? That's the energy of what I would expect from a mother.
So Candace is basically like,
Yeah, exactly, Leaf. Yeah, I mean, she's basically saying that they're conspiracies and they didn't respond. I mean, this is the perniciousness of like conspiracies talking in conspiracies constantly, because it's like, how much do you validate? How can you prove that I am not a lizard person? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do I actually prove that? And it's like, you know, this is she's dealing with something that Erica is incentivized to not actually do. Ducray! Yes! Oh my gosh, guys. This is actually the last day. We should actually do this real quick. Real quick, guys. Sorry. We're not actually just drama slop streamer. I know this is crazy. We actually are revolutionizing the political content streamer game as well. We do everything here. We do everything. And we actually got tasked personally by a physician in Pennsylvania who is a state congressman, and we are trying to get these bills passed, 1828 and 1881. So these are two bills that are going through the House and Senate in Pennsylvania. One of them makes it so that pharmacy techs and pharmacists can actually administer vaccines like they have already, and they can do perfectly well because it's just an IM shot, intramuscular shot. It's very easy. And then two, they're actually making it so that you can trust other medical associations and not just the CDC, because if the CDC removes the recommendation, then insurance companies aren't going to cover it anymore. It's going to be super expensive to have that vaccine. So what we are doing is that we are calling these swing members and these swing voters in order to actually get these bills passed. Okay, so we have in-state, if you are a resident and if you have friends that are living in Pennsylvania, this is the last day. No, it's not. It's just into the muscle, and that's why it's like your deltoid right here is usually a big chunk of muscle, so it's just right into there. And the idea is that make sure you call or text or whatever, DM on Discord. I don't know, anyone that you know that lives in Pennsylvania right now, because this is going to be a huge point on there. I'm not active enough. What is this? Sorry guys, 1 second. So please, if you are in state, use the in-state templates. But if you're out of state, we have out-of-state templates too. So we have out-of-state. Oh, nice Bear. Okay, so we got 5 for Ducray. Political actions. We're up to 1116. Everyone, let's give it up for Ducray in 3, 2, 1. Okay, Renee, you got boulders for shoulders. I gotcha. What's a bear? Could you give a number? What are you thinking? I did 5 the other day. Nice. Island, I think we already got you, but we'll do it again just in case. 11:21. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. It's right here. 11:21. Is that right? There we go. Okay. Oh, maybe I didn't hit the button. Cool. Good job, guys. So that's what this political act. If you're new here, the political actions are all the calls and emails that we do as a community in order to help change and fight this Maha stuff. And then the vaccines are the vaccines that we've gotten as a community. That 30 from the other day were all Pennsylvania. Dang. Did we count it already, Bear? Thank you, Duke. Okay, perfect. Okay, nice, guys. See, I love that. We are getting it in. This was tasked with us personally. We got an email sent from Pennsylvania in regards to this. So it's really cool. Really cool to actually be tasked with this stuff, and really cool to be able to impact possible legislation. We're definitely going to follow that going forward and kind of see what happens there. So anyway, back to the show.
Like, you can't just play the grieving widow card or the I'm just a mom and a woman card when you're the CEO of a massive company and you're making all these media appearances, which she does have a point there. I mean, I don't think Erica needs to respond to Candace's demands or anything, but it's hard to take someone seriously when they're like, we just want privacy. Please stop talking about our company while you're doing a publicity tour, and people are also like, well, this is his grieving wife. Her husband just died. So it's tough for her, which I understand. But if that's the case, maybe she should get out of the spotlight and spend some time privately grieving. Yeah. I mean, ever since Charlie got assassinated, she's been making media appearances nonstop. Well, yeah, exactly. Which a lot of people think is strange and they're put off by it. And it's obviously only fueling the conspiracy theories. Also, I didn't realize this, but people at Turning Point still go live on Charlie Kirk's personal Twitter account every day.
Every day? They're still using that. That's wild. That's crazy. They're still using the brand. I guess, I don't know, guys. Would that be, I guess, wouldn't you use the Turning Point USA brand at that point? It's hard to take someone seriously until you have no choice sometimes. Like, man, it's kind of wild. I mean, I'm going through my own grief, with like losing my mom. It's not as tragic what happened with Charlie, obviously, but I'm thinking about that. And sometimes you do just have to go forward and like stuff like that. But I wouldn't, talking about it publicly. I also is the deadline. I think they're honestly. I think they might be voting on it today. So you definitely want to get your emails and your stuff done now. So I can understand both viewpoints, really. I can understand kind of like going through and just trying to process your grief by kind of living every day without trying to think about it. But I also I realized, like, when I talk about it, like there was some guy that I was debating or someone in comments or something that was making fun of my mom like dying or something, and it was like, well, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? I talk about it on the internet, and this is the stream, and this is being recorded, and I understand this, right? So I can understand that. So I'm sorry, Deanne. I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah, so it's like, if I want to talk about my mom publicly, then I kind of understand that it's going to leave me open. And if she wants to, use it to fundraise, you can't be like, why are you being critical of me at the same time? I think I can kind of see both points on it, but Erica Kirk is kind of like cry-bullying a little bit.
In his studio, and they still post to his personal YouTube channel, which is just a bad look. I mean, I'm not even a fan of his, but when I go to his channel, I'd like to see his videos, not a bunch of slop garbage his friends cranked out after he died. Like, now his Twitter account.
I think so, dude. I think that's very weird. I think that would be very weird. If it was like a Turning Point USA, obviously the whole, organization doesn't have to fall, but like using the Charlie Kirk accounts? That feels weird to me. That feels very weird to me. Like, why wouldn't you funnel everyone over to, you know, over to the Turning Point USA stuff? Exactly, Augie. Exactly. It's a grift, basically. They're exploiting the fact that he isn't there anymore to try to lift up other voices that wouldn't be able to get that clout on the Turning Point USA thing. So that, like, they are literally exploiting the death of someone in order to have personal political gain. It's kind of like, but I mean, I guess the Turning Point USA argument would be like, well, yeah, we don't have him anymore. We don't have Charlie out anymore to be in that front person. So we need that front person now. And that's obviously going to be this person. And that's just, that has to happen. But I feel like it'd be a good change. Like, the question is, when do they switch over? It's like, a month, 2 months, a year after using Charlie Kirk's personal thing. Is that when they switch it over? Like, when do you finally switch it over? Or do you just change Turning Point USA into Charlie Kirk USA? That would be another thing, like the Henry Ford Foundation or something, where it's like you could just name the organization Charlie Kirk now, and that could be just like how he lives on. That would be how I would think it could work.
Is all just live streams and promotions, and you have to scroll way down to even see his actual tweets. But
That's
maybe
weird.
This is what he would have wanted. I don't know. Either way, though, people are just put off by it. Like, the streams and videos, they don't get many views, and usually the top comments are negative, and people are like, dude, please
Dang.
delete these. Just let this be a memorial for Charlie.
Yeah.
So I understand Turning Point's in a tough position, and they're trying to figure things out, but this
Yeah,
just...
dude, I like that my mom's like Facebook. That, by the way, I need to memorialize her account because it still keeps like popping up as like for my Dr. Greg show stuff. It'll pop up and like, we have a new friend recommendation, like your mom. And I'm like, it's like Facebook. No, I have to email them to memorialize the account. But like, you gotta memorialize the account, dude. Like, that is kind of weird. I think that like going to that website could be, like, that would be a good way to do that. I know, user, there's a lot of people on Facebook still, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people still. So, hey, I go where the people are, not necessarily where I want to be. So, you know what I mean? So that's just what it is.
comes across as strange. And it doesn't help that they basically defend this by saying they need the money, and if they don't do the show, they can't pay their employees. Like, that's how the guy who Candace said is a swinger defended it, because he's still constantly posting about Charlie, and people in the comments are like, dude, I think it's time to move on. Because they're doing Charlie's podcast, they're using his social media accounts, and even on their own social media accounts, they'll mostly just post about Charlie. They'll find any...
Of some random pic of Charlie Kirk, and they're like, this is the new content for the day? A pic from 2015 with Charlie putting together the backdrop wall ourselves for one of... That's like not even a good picture. You can't even really tell that's him. That is wild. Why would you do that?
reason to post an old picture of him or just talk about him, and people in the comments are starting to feel like it's a guilt trip. Like the other day, Tyler Boyer posted, "Every single day we are reminded of the loss of Charlie. No one feels it more than the Turning Point and Charlie Kirk show family." And someone commented, "I'd like to push back on that," and this is probably a Candace Owens fan, but they complained about how they hijacked Charlie's show and said it deserves an ending and TPUSA should just do their own thing. And his response was basically, "We'll do what Erica tells us, and we need to keep the show going because we need to be able to pay our employees." Which is a pretty bad response, to say you're doing it because you need the money, especially after you raised a ton of money. So
Yeah,
it seems like
wait
they
a
just
second.
don't know what to do.
They got $80 million in a month. They were excited that the fact that for a year, an entire annual, for the expenses for an entire year, they gained it in weeks, in 3 weeks. But how would you be running, like, turn off the lights that bad? What? There's no way that they're in dire straits that bad.
But after a while, you got to figure it out and move on and not just rely on Charlie. Same thing with Candace, obviously. She definitely needs to move on as well. But Turning Point and
MT,
Candace,
what's up,
they're
dude?
just feeding off of each other because Turning Point is like, hey, you're making money off Charlie. then Candace just points back at them and is like, no, you're making money off Charlie.
This repeat talking point about people.
The guy that's talking is too lazy to try. That's the YouTube video that we're talking. His little like thing is he's George Costanza in the bottom right. That's like his little thing. Yeah, Terry. I mean, how many? I mean, an $80 million a year burn rate is just. That's so much money, dude. That's so much. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like that's more than like the biotechnology companies that I work for. You know what I mean? That's like, what? And we're like actually creating a real product that exists in the world. And these guys are just doing social media, and they're $80 million a year. Like, how many thousands of employees do they have?
Making money, except for the people
Let's
that
see.
have actually made off of all of the money, millions upon millions of dollars. But this is the new thing. It's like, if you keep doing what you were already doing in podcasting, or keep doing what you were already doing and doing ballistics on YouTube, if you catch a bunch of views, they want to convince you that like you wake up and you turn into a millionaire. Building her business. What are you talking about? I already had this business. I was already at the top of the charts. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I actually did, because it's so ridiculous.
So Candace always downplays that she's getting more
Guys, that is, oh my gosh, that is not an exaggeration. Look at this. Revenue, 85 million a year. Expenses, 81 million. They have 458 employees, and they're a 501c3 organization. How are they a 501c3? They're involved in elections. They're saying that they're not Republican. They're not actually coordinating with the Republican Party. What? What? No way. That's crazy, guys. 81. This is 2023 too. Isn't that nonprofit? Yeah, it's a nonprofit organization. 501c3. We created a 501c3. So SAFE is we have a 501c3 and a 501c4, because the 501c3 is education based. That's the whole idea. So that you can only use 20% of your allotment in order to actually use it for like election stuff. And then a 501c4, you have more stipulations, but it's not tax deductible. 501c3 is tax deductible, so you can actually work on your taxes if you donate money to a 501c3. Yeah, exactly, Renee. Well, thankfully we are Republicans, so that's why we founded our own 501c3 as well. There you go, guys. I mean, there you go. Like, why aren't more people doing this? If she's
more views than ever. If you look at her most popular live streams, it's all about Charlie Kirk and Bridget McCrone, but she ties those two things together. And I'd estimate she's probably
Bridget
making around
McCrone.
$200,000 a show now, and probably even more. Like, in between her investigating Charlie Kirk's death, she does 4 ad reads a show, which she should be making around $30,000 to $50,000 each. She's also promoting a book and a book club she does behind a paywall, and a documentary behind a paywall. Also, she does super chats and promotes merch. And if she's monetized on YouTube, she's probably also making $10K a show from that. So she's making absolute bank off of this. It's incredible. But of course, when Candace talks about this, she seriously acts like she's only made a couple $1,000s.
To that point that people are making hundreds and thousands of dollars. I just don't get how there's not someone on this very large PR team.
There's to that point, okay, that I've gotten a third of a dozen gifts, okay, today, like, it's just like, what a weird way of like saying things.
As we're seeing these PR campaigns go out, but it doesn't go, hey, maybe we should strike that. They made $40 million like 2 nights ago at Mar-a-Lago. Maybe that feels kind of a little bit like let them eat cake-ish. Oh, and we've made more than, separately from Mar-a-Lago, Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know, this is a fact, has made more than $100 million.
What?
That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has
What?
died, that organization has taken in $140 million. But gosh darn you people that are making hundreds of dollars every day on YouTube.
Hundreds of dollars. She's saying she's making hundreds of dollars. That's what dude, that is wild. How did these guys get away with it? How does anyone actually a fan of Candace Owens thinking that she only makes hundreds of dollars? Hundreds of dollars. What? How do you, like, what?
So if she feels the need to downplay it that much, it shows she knows it'd be a bad look if people actually knew how much
You think she's talking about other people? Oh, so she's ascribing it to other people. She's like, oh, they're attacking other people?
money she's making, you know, because if not, why not just be honest about it? I mean, she always talks about Turning Point's not honest and they're not answering any of her questions. And she's like, let's see their financials, let's see their taxes, let's see their phone logs. Like, she thinks she deserves to see all this stuff. So if she's going to do that, then I think it's a fair question to ask how much money she's making from this.
For real.
And if she wants transparency from them, then she should be transparent. Also, if this really is such a serious issue to Candace, you know, she just wants to get to the bottom of things. She's just trying to figure out who really killed Charlie Kirk and it's really important to her. I don't know why she's doing ad reads to begin with. Like, why even waste your and your
Why even
audience's
monetize
time
it?
with that? But obviously, the money's just way too good, and that's the problem here. You know, Charlie Kirk died, and now these people are like crows picking at his dead carcass to get every last cent out of
Exactly.
it.
It's
And I'm not
gross.
saying everyone's a bad person that was just trying to make money off of him. You know, it makes sense that Turning Point, his own company, obviously would use this to fundraise, and his friends would report on this and talk about it. You know, obviously it's part of their job. So that makes sense. But at the end of the day, you are monetizing his death in some way. And how far
Obviously.
are people willing to take that? Like, where is the line drawn? Like, that's what we're seeing here. You know, it's 3 months out and still people are milking it to death. And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people Charlie was associated with are opportunists. I'm sure, like, just a few minutes after his death, there are a lot of people that are like, how can I make money off this? How can I make this about me? Like, the best was Rabbi Shmuley. Like, as soon as he heard Charlie Kirk got shot, he posted a video to Twitter, and he's like, this is why I fear for my life every day. And Charlie was a friend to
With the
Israel, and
GoFundMe.
that's why he's in danger.
With the
And then the
GoFundMe.
best part is he put a link to his own GoFundMe to help protect Rabbi Shmuley. So this guy is unbelievable.
Oh my
I mean, as
gosh.
soon as he hears
500,000? Whoa, jeez. Dude, that is so anti-say.
me to help
He's the best known defender of Israel in the English-speaking world globally. We are raising 500,000 security fund to protect him and the World Values Network and his staff. We need your help. Any amount from 18 to 1800 is very great. Why 18? What is the numerical significance of 18 there?
protect Rabbi Shmuley. So this guy is unbelievable. I mean, as soon as he hears his friend got shot, he thinks, how can I make this all about myself and how can I make money from this? Which I'm sure a lot of people are thinking. And even if they weren't, like, the people that report on this, all their views went up and they talked about it nonstop for a couple weeks, which obviously that makes sense. You know, it's a big story. Of course, they're going to cover it. But there is a big incentive for them to cover it as much as possible and speculate on it and try to drag it out as long as possible. So you have to have some discipline
Jeez.
to be like, all right, that's enough reporting on it. I don't need to drag this out any longer. I've made enough money from it. And I'm sure a lot of these influencers are looking at each other like, are we still going with this? You know, if you're going to cover it, then I'm going to cover it because
still
it's
going?
like FOMO. So seeing Candace shamelessly milk this thing for 3 months and make a shitload of money by promoting nonsense theories surrounding
Man, has it been 3 months? That's crazy. That is so long. Yeah, Crafty. Some days I wish I didn't have a conscience and could be a grifter. I think about that every day, Crafty. I think about that every day. No, I mean it is disheartening, you know, for real. I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to start to grift that this hard. That's the crazy thing. I wouldn't even. Yeah, it's wild to me. I don't get it.
his death. I think that really made people bitter, like Tim Pool. You know, he's always complaining about how he doesn't make enough money and how his show isn't worth it for him, especially after that Russian money dried up. So I think there's probably some jealousy there, because it is wild seeing what Candace is doing. Every day it's
Dude,
like, I got a new
Tim
theory, I
Pool.
figured it out. This
Tim
is the
Pool's
last piece
the
of
most
the puzzle.
bad.
And then you tune in and it's just some wacky theory you can barely understand for 20 minutes. And then she starts doing ad reads and promoting books and documentaries and paywalled content and doing super chats. And it's like, holy shit, she is making so much money from this. You know, it's like peak grifting. So it's making all the other grifters jealous.
Exactly.
And I think Candace will implode eventually because her ego is just completely out of control. But she is very calculated, you know, by acting like, I'm not making much money and look how much Turning Point's making. They're making the real money and I'm just calling them out for it. Also, whenever people mock her, she's like, oh, that means the theory that I mentioned about
Must
the
be
maroon
true.
shirts means we're getting close to the truth and people don't like it.
Desperation, because I think we're getting close. I think this is all reaction, as some of you have pointed out in the comments from yesterday's
Oh
episode.
my gosh.
That suddenly we started talking about Pierre and that $1 billion incentive, and they went crazy. They started going max. So
Oh my
we
gosh.
should
Hey,
still
have fun.
focus on our investigations. Their color, the 10th Mountain Brigade, maroon. So we're on the right track, and we're going to keep pushing.
Guys, I have to come clean. Okay? My fanny pack. Maroon. Coincidence? I don't think so. Just putting it out there. I'm calling balls and strikes. You know what I mean? Calling balls and strikes.
You can't keep calling everybody crazy and thinking that
They think Ducre that she has this. She was going through the people in the crowd of in Charlie Kirk's, like, the day that it happened, and she's like, that guy on the watchtower, maroon shirt. This guy over here with a hat, maroon shirt. I'm just asking questions. It's like, what? Like, why would they? If you are a tactical team that is like high level in one of the top squads in the world, like, why would you be so? Why would you be so infantile that you're like, guys, make sure you all wear your maroon shirts today, or otherwise we wouldn't know who each other are. We got to make sure we're color coordinated, everyone. Don't wear blue, or we're not gonna know how to coordinate. And what? Like, imagine that, like, world that she's living in, where that's like, this is one of the most advanced, you know, these people, it's from Israel, right? These people are from Israel, and they're all coordinating, but they don't have earpieces in, they don't have anything like that. They have to color coordinate by maroon shirts. Exactly. Yeah, exactly, Crafty. We're just asking questions, and when but it's malignant. It's very malignant. I was thinking that too, Emerging Beauty. Why does she have the CIA up there? Is it because, I mean, she basically thinks that she's one of these guys. You know, like her the way she's coming up with these theories and stuff like that in her mind, like, she is one of them, and she's actually frustrated that Trump didn't allow her to kind of come into the fold and work with the FBI in order to help solve this case. And apparently that's one of the sticking points that she knew, was like, that's how I know that these guys are lying. So, very weird.
that wins the argument. Laughter, elite laughter, like they're just in their private clubs, like, maroon shirts, Egyptian planes. It's elitist and scrappy. Anyways, you guys, there is a documentary that is available on our website, What a Woman Is. And it's it goes right along with the book that I wrote.
And the only big media personality that's still on board with this nonsense and wants
Ducre, no, they're trying to pin it on Israel now. That's like their thing. That's the fissure within the party, and basically, like, whether or not how close you are to Israel is the big thing. They think that it was like a Israeli task force kind of thing that did it. Yeah, very odd. Very odd. No, they haven't, Ducre. That's the thing, is that it's been Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, that are all pushing this into the Israel camp, and Trump is pro-Israel, doesn't, and Charlie Kirk was pro-Israel too. So again, so it's like another thing where, people are like, what? That is basically the problem.
Candace to keep pushing is Tucker Carlson. He was on Theo Vaughn's podcast and he talked about this, and he also posted a video to Twitter where he's like, I like everyone involved. I'm not trying to cause problems, but I'm just asking questions here, like those Egyptian planes following Erica around. I mean, what even is that?
Oh my gosh.
Candace, she uses Tucker to build credibility, and this is insane. She says Tucker is credible because he's tied to the CIA. I guess now Candace trusts the CIA. I mean, this just makes no fucking sense.
Get something wrong, you correct it, but I was right about the Egyptian planes. And when you hear Tucker Carlson say that he is confirming that that part is true, what I take from that, Tucker Carlson has been very clear. He grew up with CIA agents, okay? This is a guy who grew up in Virginia. His father, he learned after his father died, he thought he was just working with the CIA. No, his father was on the payroll of the CIA. So Tucker's friends are in the state. So you should take it as a concrete fact that there's something up with these Egyptian planes, and they were in fact following around Charlie, and they were following around Erica, as I told you.
Are they?
And that means people in the NSA, the CIA, are confirming that that is real. Anyways, Tucker then goes on and states the obvious predicament further, which is that we just don't have any faith in the government.
So
because Trump and Israel are working together, that's what they're trying to allude to. They're having a problem here, having a little problem that Trump is buddies with Bibi, and that's what a lot of this is coming down to. It's very odd.
one prominent person who's backing Candace's claims is closely associated with the CIA and might be a CIA asset. And Candace is referring to the CIA as a credible source to back up her conspiracy theory that the CIA killed.
Are there any official narratives that you doubt? Honestly, Costco, I try to just go with the least amount of conspiracy theories, or let's be specific in our language. I try to go with the least amount of unfounded, non-backed up, non-concrete ideas as possible. I'd much rather believe a fewer set of things and have those things be concrete and then move on from there than have 1,000 different opinions on things that 90% of them I have no concrete data or analytics in order to prove. Because how do you go forward from there? That's the problem. So that is the thing. I like to believe the truth. Okay. All right, cool. I think the truth is what we can produce with data and analytics and science rather than just feels and vibes. But you do you. You do you. It's okay.
Charlie Kirk. Like Candace has talked about how the CIA is behind everything, you know, with MK Ultra and mind control and beekeeper cults, and they're responsible for Charlie Kirk getting assassinated and Bridget McCrone being a man and all this crazy shit. But now she's saying we should trust the CIA and NSA and says it's a concrete fact because the CIA agrees with us. So I don't know how that makes any sense. And right afterwards she says, and remember, we have no faith in the government. So at this point, I think Candace is a CIA asset. Like, she sells CIA merch. She completely trusts the CIA. And
Costco, how are you? What do you can you prove that you're not a CIA asset right now? What do you mean? Prove to me right now that you're not a Mossad double agent. What's going on? Prove it. No, see, there you go. You can't prove it though. Of course they want to see that. You know, of course they want to say that, and you want to, you know, CIA. Oh my gosh, she's selling a CIA shirt. That's so weird. I think Ducre. I think the MAGA like party, you know, like the Republican Party is still trying to use like the trans person, trans girlfriend, that kind of like, you know, language, and these guys are taking it way in a different direction. And I think that again is that's part of the Civil War, and that people are like, dude, you're kind of embarrassing us. You're kind of embarrassing us. Like this is bad. Oh, I should drop my arrogance and be open to learning. Thank you for saying that. You can drop into voice too if you want to talk about it. If you, I would love to understand your critique more. Please enlighten me.
Good friends with a possible CIA asset, and he's the only prominent person backing her here. Also, when she was talking to Russell Brand,
What's up, dude?
How's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. So, do you not understand what I mean by empiricism? Like, what's
Dude,
confusing?
dude, I think that there's way too many conspiracy theories that are going around nowadays, and people are just really like having that problem.
Okay, well, sorry, my dog's barking at me. One sec. Uh, let me take care of him real quick. Sorry, I gotta mute.
All good. Mind blown. Yeah, I think yeah, Efon. I think that he's using it, and I mean, I think that a lot of conspiracy theorists think that they would be they're empirically looking at it. You know, then that's kind of the problem.
Yeah, sorry about that.
What's up, dude?
Basically, I'm saying like I don't disagree that there are too many conspiracy theories out
Okay.
there, right?
Sure.
But I'm saying that your metric for like whether or not you're going to believe something being always there, empirical data on that, philosophically, that's not how we know things. It's purely through empiricism.
Okay. How do we know things?
I mean, have you read Hegel? Have you read the Critique of Pure Reason?
Inform us.
What do you mean inform you? Have you read it or not? Do you understand Hegel's Critique of Pure Reason? Do you understand the philosophical critiques of empiricism?
I mean, years ago I read it, but I'm not familiar. Like, why don't you just?
So that's the thing. Is like I could explain it. I'm just my point to bring up to you though is that like I don't think you understand the critique of empiricism enough to speak confidently that your worldview is backed empirically.
Okay, then what's the critique of it?
You want me to sum up the entirety of Hegel's philosophy for you?
That's what you're using as your bedrock.
No, that's not what I'm using. That's not what I'm using.
No,
I
I gave you my philosophy, and then you said no, it's wrong because of X, and I'm saying,
yeah, I'm just
go
asking.
ahead.
Are you asking me to teach you? Are you asking me to teach you?
Are you
asking me to teach you?
Well, I guess you didn't learn well enough in order to actually expound on it. So you obviously
maybe
need to
not.
learn
I'm
yourself.
just not gonna. I'm not gonna teach you unless you ask me to teach you.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I don't have time to teach you either. So
you're not teaching me anything. I am the teacher.
Wow, dude. You didn't win anything, bro. I love that you thought that. That's how it should have gone.
That was Hi, that was so strange. I was like really interested in like a lively discussion on why empiricism may or may not be a good way to like understand the world about us or to believe certain ideas that are put forth. But he just didn't want to engage at all. That was super weird.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If he's using Hegel in order to critique empiricism and he's not able to, from Hegel, to form his own critique, then why should I have any of my beliefs critiqued by someone who can't even understand his own point? You know what I mean? He's just trying to copy and paste someone else's, but obviously Hegel didn't do a good job of confronting empiricism because he doesn't even understand the point himself. So it's just like, it's like the standard like read theory, and it's like, well, if you can't expound and understand the philosophy in order to actually say it yourself, then why should I believe your theory? It gets really awful then. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
Right. And I mean, there are other ways to like come close to truth. Like
you literally can't. You were given that opportunity and you couldn't summarize your own philosophy. So why would I ever ask you to?
You didn't even like he literally was like, okay, tell us like what you think and like why you think empiricism isn't a good way for truth, or why empiricism isn't like important when it comes to conspiracy theories. You were just like, you don't know this guy, right? Like you're not putting forth your own opinion or engaging in a discussion, which is totally okay. Like there are lots of people who just like to debate and like one up other people. I'm like friends with a bunch of them and I watch their lives, and sometimes I participate and get my ass handed to me, which is fine. Because I'm terrible at like filbroing and debating. Yeah, and then we okay, how has it moved past empiricism? No, dude, no. You are saying philosophy has moved past empiricism. Discuss it. Discuss it with us. Tell us why you
You
think that
couldn't.
is the
You couldn't.
case. Right? We're
couldn't.
not asking you to teach us anything. We're asking you to have like a discussion, right? Like you're just not here to have an honest discussion. You have a perspective, you have an opinion based off of things that you've read. You have a difference of opinion than Dr. Greg. So, hi, Flobby. Flobby is one of the Phil Bros. So, and I would like guess that not everybody agrees with Hegel either. You know, you could come up here and have a discussion. Instead, you just, I don't know what you wanted to do. It was weird. Hi, babe. Chatting on a live.
I think I'll feel better once I eat.
Yeah, I think you need to eat. Sorry, Dr. Greg. Hold on.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I read it years ago. I mean, we're talking like 5 years ago. I went through a philosophy of science class about it, and we were talking about it, but I don't understand. I mean, I read a lot, dude. A lot of different stuff. So I am sorry. What's up, Dr. Jim?
I'm gonna mute him because he just wants to. I mean, if you don't want me to, I won't. But like, let him.
No, it's
let's
fine.
not
He can
feed
do
his
whatever.
ego.
He can do whatever he wants. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I just thought that was. I was like actually really, especially with conspiracy theories, like if we want to make logical arguments, I think we have to be careful saying that we don't need evidence when it comes to conspiracy theories, because I think people can make logical arguments, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're sound if they're not grounded in facts and evidence.
Literally, he crashed out when I said that I think that my thinking should have analysis and reproducibility and have like some grounding of things that we can actually observe and prove through experimentation. And he crashed out. So I don't understand, you know, I'm not reading Hegel about like him proving the supernatural world that is, you know, outside of what we can understand through the natural process. So I'm just, you know, again, I don't even think that Hegel would agree with this guy. So I don't know. I mean, again, a lot of people have these like pet philosophers and stuff like that. It's just kind of boring. Like to be honest with you, I mean, I have a doctorate in philosophy, right? That's what a PhD is, but I actually haven't had like a bunch of grounding in philosophy classes. I'm interested in it philosophically to think about it and stuff, like to, you know, learn more and stuff like that. But no, I don't think in logic statements. I don't think if this, then this, then this, then this. Like, I just don't think like that. I'm sorry, but it's just true. So, you know, it's a great opportunity squandered by that random guy, and we're moving forward with it, you know. So anyway, thanks for coming up, Ducray. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's just boring. It's just boring. Costco, you're more than welcome to Never mind. Never mind.
And this was so funny. She's like, how come people won't answer where they were when Charlie died? You know, if I ask you where you were, would you get weird and act strange about it? You know, if you ask me, I would say I was in my kitchen plotting, and then quickly corrects herself and is like, I mean planning. But if we're going to question everything, if we're going to look into everything and go based off of like how this feels, how this looks, how people are acting, what's weird, a lot of the shit Candace does is very suspicious.
Also, to not answer basic questions that if I said to you,
Wow.
Russell,
Wow. I mean, answering a basic question. Imagine that. Imagine not being able to answer basic questions. That would be so crazy. Imagine that. Just having a simple question asked to you that you can't understand and you can't formulate a response to, and then you crash out on. Well, it seems like someone's really understanding and getting mind melding with Candace Owens in this moment.
where were you when Charlie got shot? You're not going to get defensive and weird. You're just going to, I can tell you where I was. I was sitting plotting, planning my next show at the kitchen counter. And they are being very strange about details on that day.
So what was Candace plotting? You know, was that a Freudian slip? Did she know about something ahead of time? Like, I'm just asking questions. You know, she doesn't seem to want to be honest with how much money she's making from this either. And she's definitely benefited the most from it. You know, Turning Point's made a lot of money, but without Charlie Kirk, they're lost. I mean, it's not benefiting them in the long run at all. So I'd say Candace probably benefited the most from this, even though eventually it's all going to implode and she's going to destroy her credibility. I mean, she probably already has. But other than Turning Point, I'm sure she made the most amount of money from this. And now she's trying to destroy Turning Point. So is she finishing off the job for Tyler Robinson? I mean, also her fans are saying free Tyler Robinson. So I honestly feel like Candace being involved in this somehow is way more plausible than any one of her 1,000 batshit crazy theories. Like, if the CIA really killed Charlie Kirk, they probably wanted to destroy Turning Point, which Candace is doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Wouldn't Charlie's whole power be with the organization? I mean, $80 million a year? That organization's gigantic. Like, why wouldn't it try to attack Turning Point? Like, why would it just attack him? I guess he is the figurehead of it, obviously. But man, that is a much bigger organization than just him.
And she's literally referring to the CIA as a credible source to go after Turning Point and to help convince people that Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie Kirk. So Candace could be helping with the cover up here. You know, maybe she's really part of the CIA, MK Ultra, beekeeper, mind control cult. I mean, Candace Owens is sketchy as fuck if you look into her, which Nick Fuentes said he'll expose her if Turning Point doesn't put an end to this. But I think Turning Point is having trouble handling Candace because I'm sure they are doing some shady stuff. And, you know, they also want to be like, Candace, just stop talking about Charlie. But they talk about him every second. They're making money from him. Like, if they really want Candace to stop, they got to drop it as well. I mean, it's too much. Like, every day there's a celebration for Charlie or a memorial or a book or a fundraiser or an appearance from his wife or a dinner. And it's been over 3 months and it's still just nonstop. So they can do whatever they want, obviously, but people are getting a bad vibe from it. And they have to know this because they get mocked for it constantly. And some of these posts are just so cringy. Like that guy, Jack Posobiec, the Epstein binder guy.
Hey, that's the guy that we talked about that sells the dude.
Some of these posts are
this guy sells ivermectin on his page, touting that ivermectin is like a cure-all, and then actually has a link in the Twitter post that the what's the Trump thing? Not Truth Social. His own link to buy ivermectin, and then from that link is a referral code that he's actually making money on pushing cure-alls. Wow, another guy that is pushing grifts and pushing these lies in order to tell you untruths with no actual factual data. Incredible. How do they all grift and they all make money off of this? Wow, guys.
So cringy. Like that guy Jack Posobiec, the Epstein binder guy, on Thanksgiving, he's like, here's Charlie Kirk's Thanksgiving menu. And did you know Charlie was extremely anti-sweet potatoes with marshmallow? But did you know also that Charlie was anti-corn? And Charlie was flat out wrong about green bean casserole. Casserole is great, and the hate. So it's like, all right, dude, I know he's your friend, it's sad, but this is getting really weird, and it's been months. Like, this has to stop at some point. I mean, it's like these people don't know what to do with themselves or their careers without Charlie, They hijacked his show, they used his Twitter account, they used his YouTube account, and
It's
they
wild.
tweet about him nonstop, and they always have a new story to tell about him, and they post every picture they've ever taken with him to Twitter. And people at this
And the DMs are leaked. Everyone's mining their DMs with Charlie Kirk trying to make a buck on it.
point are just like, all right, let him rest. We can move on to something else. But this is what gets him the most engagement. This is what gets him the most clicks. Of course, they're going to be like, well, I'm just trying to make sure everybody remembers my friend. We're trying to honor him. But a
Person
lot
of
of it
the
feels
year.
like it's about the money, which even that guy from Turning Point said they hijacked his show because it's about the money. So, of course, people are going to call him out on this. And now they're like, well, we want our privacy. Don't talk about our company. Don't talk about Charlie Kirk. So you can't have it both ways. Also, Erica Kirk, she's choosing to be in the spotlight. I mean, she could have immediately been like, listen, I just want privacy.
Trump
Let me
hates
be
him.
with my
Trump hates this, by the way. He was so mad. You could tell by his body language and his, he just hated it.
family and kids. And I'm sure everybody would have respected that. I mean, most people, you'd be terrible to go after her in that situation. But instead, she's putting herself out there. She's the CEO of this company. She's making all these appearances. She's making everything public. Candace pulled up the video of her over Charlie's casket that she posted to social media. And unfortunately, I have to agree with Candace here. This is not normal. I don't know why anybody would want to post a video like this. Like, you're over your husband's casket crying and you want somebody to record you so you can post it to Instagram.
But the decision to publish that, you crying over your husband's casket, and to publish his dead body on Instagram was a decision that was made by Erica. And we can watch that. Take a look.
What? Oh my gosh, are you serious? Could you even show that?
I love you. God bless you.
I did not know this happened. What?
That is an incredibly personal and an incredibly intimate moment, an intimate moment that you invited the public into. Okay, there was no
What?
reason to do that outside of wanting to share something that was very private with the
I
public.
can't even.
So that video and all the appearances Erica has made since Charlie's death have just been feeding into the conspiracy theories, because everything feels like a performance, because a lot of it is. I mean, obviously Erica has genuine emotions, but if you're on stage for a sold out arena with pyrotechnics going off and you give a speech that you probably didn't even write in front of a bunch of cameras with the whole world watching, and you know when to cry, you know when to pause, you know when to make a certain face, that's a performance. There's nothing genuine about that. So this whole thing was just turned into a giant spectacle, and conspiracy theorists are going to run wild with that. And now it's just out of control. Like, Candace is demanding the public knows where Charlie's buried, which is insane because everybody knows.
That's a huge thing now. Like, whether or not where he specifically is going to be buried, because then they're going to make it public or something. It's very weird, man.
It's just going to get vandalized right away, and probably by a Candace Owens fan. They'd for sure go investigating and probably try to dig up his body to see if it's real. And then if they get caught, Candace could just be like, oh, it's a false flag. The Jews really did that. They paid him to vandalize the memorial. So they could blame it on me and use that to censor me because they don't want me to talk about Bridget Macron's dick.
Now you fast forward 3 months removed, and it's why does the public want to know where he's buried? It doesn't work like that. You have to make a decision. I want this always to be private, or I want this always to be public. That's my personal feedback there.
So this shit is getting really ugly. And Candace said she'd stop investigating if Erica told her to, which she did, but Candace found a loophole because when Erica was asked about the conspiracy theorists, she was asked, what would you say to people lying? So, of course, now Candace is pretending like, oh, Erica just told me to stop lying. Well, if I'm lying,
I'm telling
what
the
am I lying
truth.
about?
I wrote, Erica Kirk will forgive someone 1 week later for murdering her husband, but she won't forgive someone for not believing the FBI narrative. I saw a lot of people commenting that online, that the energy definitely feels different for people that want to get to the truth than it does for the person who she believes killed her husband. And I don't believe that is the person who pulled the trigger. I just don't. And you're allowed to disagree with Erica. You are. And that's fine. She's allowed to think what she thinks, and you're allowed to think what you think. That's what I want you guys to know. Don't allow this strategy to stop you from standing by your convictions. Butterfly writes, Candace, you mentioned several times that if Erica asked you to stop, you would, in fact, stop. Will you honor her request?
Yes.
Please stand by your word and honor what Charlie left behind. Prayers to you. I was very clear here. Erica asked me to stop lying, and I will immediately abide by that request. You know, Candace is lying. What do you want to say? Please stop. Please stop lying. I understand. I comprehend. What I don't comprehend is what I've lied about.
So I don't know if Candace is
Wow.
going away.
What
I mean,
in the
she's out for
world, dude?
blood. I think she's just trying to tear it all down. So it'll be interesting to see how far
Yeah,
she
she won't stop, dude. Let's see. Is this just like a Candace? God, 5.7 million subscribers. Oh my gosh. Is she doing lives? Is that what's happening? Yeah, she does lives. Wow. Dude, look at these views. 2.2, nothing under 2 million. Ever since this has all happened. Oh my gosh, look at this. Setting the bait. She literally has a picture of her and Charlie Kirk as the thing. Oh my gosh. Another picture of her and Charlie Kirk to my friend Charlie Kirk. Before this was all happening, the e-files 900, 1 million, 12111. So she's at least doubled her viewership since this. Like at least double it. That's wild, man. I think it's because like they want I don't know. I don't know, Ducray. I don't know why I got so mad at Erica. I think it's because she's trying to protect the narrative and Erica's trying to be private, you know, with something, and she's just not letting that happen. Dang, she's only got a B+. That's not that good. Wow. Oh, jeez. Look at 2024. Look at this year. You see that giant spike? Look at that. She wasn't... How did she just blow up like that? Look at that. April 2024 and then May 2024, boom, election season. Now she has all these subscribers, monthly gain subscribers, gaining 200,000 a month, gaining 200,000 a month after the election, drops February, down, and then August 2025, one of the worst months since before the election, and then boom, gains 700,000. Look at the views. It's actually not that much. No, that's crazy. I think the information about they're like trying to prod into specific things like why is this person here? What's this person doing there? And I think that they're kind of just asking questions too much, you know, kind of thing, and they're kind of just being like, what are you talking about? Renee. That's wild, dude. Man. It's crazy. That they're actually together, that they're working together. Yeah, exactly, Ducray. Muddying the waters. Yeah. They're not being like she's like asking for, you know, like the questions and stuff that she's asking are just impossible to answer questions, you know, that nobody would want to answer kind of thing. Yeah. And it's like, why did you do this? What's with this? You know, and they can't answer all of them. They're really going after it. And it's like, when did you stop hitting your wife kind of thing? You know what I mean? Where you're like, no, like what? Nice, Manny. Good job on your finals. Well, I actually, man, now that I actually am curious. God, does this spark a philosophy of science thing for us? I don't know. I really don't understand a lot of philosophy. I would actually be interested in stuff, but yeah, let's see. Let's see. A lot, dude. Again, like the problem is so much of philosophy is loaded. Exactly. And what happens is that people get their like pet theory and their pet philosophy. Guys, the pet guru, you know what I mean? Like this is the guy that explains the world, you know, and it's Hegel for that guy, for the Ian Crowell or whatever for the other guy. You know, and then now we're here, you know, and it's like, bro, I'm sorry. Exactly, for Marissa. Yeah, it's like it is a culty religion, Renee. Exactly. I don't think like in philosophical, logical arguments and stuff. I really like. I guess I've and I don't respect people that can't articulate their own philosophical vision. You know, you get this a lot where it's like, read theory or read this philosopher to understand what I believe. And it's like, well, why would I listen to that philosopher if if he couldn't even teach you in order to teach me or talk to me about it? You know what I mean? I don't even understand why we would do this, why we would talk about this. But here, I am curious. I did read a little bit in regards to like a philosophy of science like class that we took. But I am curious what this.
A small number of lessons.
Let's see. Here we go.
Georg Friedrich Hegel was born in Stuttgart.
Oh gosh, the German philosopher Hegel believed that strange and alien bits of history have much to teach us. Okay, yeah, I'm already out. I'm already out. I'm already out, dude. Yeah, exactly, Stephen. Like, he should have been able to articulate, particularly, like, I'm like, I want to have things that are reproducible and proven by studies, and I would rather believe less things and have more concrete ideas than believe a bunch of conspiracies about a bunch of nonsense that I don't really know how to go forward with. I mean, how is that? Like, how is that too bad? That's not a conversation starter? Does that make sense to anyone else? Hello? Like, what? Like, give me a break, dude. Give me a break. Okay, let's try this. Let's try, guys. Here we go.
In 1770. Intellectually, he was adventurous, but in externals, respectable, conventional, and proud of it. He ascended the academic tree and reached the topmost branch, head of the University of Berlin, when he was 60 years old. He died the following year. Hegel wrote some very long and very famous books, among them The Phenomenology of Spirit, The Science of Logic, and Elements of the Philosophy of Right. But, we'll be frank, he wrote horribly. His work is confusing and complicated when it should be clear and direct. He tapped into a weakness of human nature, to be trustful of grave-sounding, incomprehensible prose. This has made philosophy much weaker in the world than it should be, and it's made it much harder for us to hear the valuable things that Hegel has to say to us, amongst which a small number of lessons stand out. Firstly, important parts of ourselves can be found in history. In Hegel's day, a standard European way of looking at the past was to consider it as primitive and to feel proud of how much progress had been made to get us to the modern age.
Okay.
But in his book, The Phenomenology of Spirit, published in 1807, Hegel argued that every era can be looked at as a repository of a particular kind of wisdom. This means we need to go back in time to rescue things which have gone missing. So, for
What?
example, we might need to mine the history of ancient Greece to fully grasp the idea of what community can be, something which has been lost in the modern age.
Huh.
Or the Middle Ages can teach us, as no other era can, about the role of honour, even if this period featured appalling attitudes to children or the rights of women. Progress is never linear, Hegel tells us. There is wisdom at every stage, which, says Hegel,
Okay.
points us to the task of the historian. To be a historian is to be someone who should rescue from the past those ideas that are most needed to compensate for the blind spots of the present. Secondly, learn from ideas you dislike.
I think I think it's really hard to learn things from the past when you don't understand the context in which they lived. And that's the problem that I see, like, with a lot of, like, philosophy that I'm reading. You know, you're like, there's, like, context that's not being written down in which they're living, and you don't really understand what the full picture is. And you know, maybe I'm not a historian or, you know, enough to have the complete picture to be able to say, like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This is why, you know, there is a sense of community in ancient Greece or something that we don't have here. And it's like, I don't know what the structure of politics and community is in Greece in order to understand that. Is it just like we need to go back in time to when there wasn't a, you know, smartphone? Is that what's going on? You know what I mean? Like that's my problem with going back, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, there, you know, for our Constitution, for example, they went back to, like, the lot government in ancient Greece in order to rescue democracy. You know, there wasn't really democracy as an idea until the United States Constitution, and that is one of the reasons why it is so unique and why it's awesome. So I guess they did, in that fact, kind of rescue, like, some ideas. So I mean, maybe it is possible, but, like, it only in the context of, like, adapting it to today, right? Because you could never have the same thing happen from the past. We're never going to be like, oh, this is the perfect time in order to contextualize this, and we should use this. Synthesis is not regression. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know. But Hegel was he was born in the 1770s to 1831, so he definitely is in the midst of the you know, scientific revolution for sure. Synthesis is regression. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe the idea, but not the methods. Like, you know, who knows the context of how they accomplished? Yeah, exactly. Like, why did it work? It might have worked for a whole host of reasons that you don't understand because you don't understand the context of what actually happened. And history can be so, it's written by the winners. You know what I mean? It's so heavy on that. You know, you don't necessarily get the fullest picture of history as a historian even. You know, it's just tough, you know. I don't know, man. It seems weird. It seems weird to be so enwrapped in this stuff, I feel like. I don't know. I don't need to read philosophy or understand any philosophical terms in order to know conspiracy bad. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't know. Hence why I said about Germany earlier today, last night. Okay. All right. Thanks for being here, Busy. I appreciate you.
Hegel was a great believer in learning from one's intellectual enemies, from points of view we disagree with or that feel alien.
We agree. We agree there. That's why I definitely agree there.
That's because he held that bits of the truth are always getting scattered even in unappealing or peculiar places, and we should dig them out by asking always what sliver of sense and reason might be contained in otherwise frightening or foreign phenomena. Nationalism, for instance.
Oh my gosh, busy. I mean, no, we do, because we have independent analyses to know that the Holocaust happened. That's why we know. We know exactly what happened. There's a lot of historical evidence, bro.
Has had many terrible manifestations, even in Hegel's day.
I mean, Busy, you realize that they were proud of what they did in the Holocaust, right? You realize that? Like, they didn't hide it. They were proud of what they did. So the idea that, like, oh, they wouldn't tell you, or nobody knew, like, they knew exactly what happened. They were proud of it. Oh no, Ghostbusters, I'm sorry. And now you're back in here. You're awesome. Love it. Thank you. Love it. Exactly, Heather. Yeah, they were proud. Like, what that's what I don't understand. Like, it's not like they were running from it. The Holocaust was something that they were excited about.
But Hegel's move was to ask what underlying good idea or important need might be hiding within the bloody history of nationalism. He proposed that it's the need for people to feel proud of where they come from, to identify with something beyond merely their own achievements, and to anchor their identities beyond the ego. Hegel is a hero of the thought that really important ideas may be in the hands of people you regard, at first glance, as beneath contempt. Thirdly, progress is messy. Hegel believed that the world makes progress, but only by lurching from one extreme to another, as it seeks to overcompensate for a previous mistake.
Does seem like that. Does seem like there is a pendulum swinging throughout history of, like, super right wing, super left wing, that kind of stuff. And apparently that's like from his idea for the left and right wing.
He proposed that it generally takes 3 moves before the right balance on any issue can be found, a process that he named the dialectic. He was often thinking of the complex twists and turns that brought about the modern state.
Yeah.
We can also think of the slow path towards sensible attitudes to sex in our own time. The Victorians imposed too much repression, yet the 1960s may have turned out to be too liberal. It might only be by the 2020s that we'll find the right balance between extremes. All this can
This is made in 2015. Spoiler, they did not. Oh, to be in 2015. What a year. July 2015. What a time to be alive. Did not age well. That's exactly where it's. I guess Hegel's like, we got to do another one. We got to do another swing, guys. Another 2. Back and forth. Hey, you said 3, so I guess this is the 3rd election with Trump. So then that's like the last thing. Hegel's right. Hegel was right. Oh, Dad Bod, what's up, dude? Welcome in, bro. We're learning about German philosophy, Hegel, because someone said that I needed to learn about him, and then crashed out and didn't join the conversation, and it was very frustrating. So we're learning on our own. We like to learn. He said I didn't like to learn, but I was anyway. It's very weird. Good, man.
Seem the most
I hope your wife and your new kiddo are doing good, dude. For real. I hope everything's going great with them.
Waste of time. But Hegel insists that the painful stepping from error to error is inevitable, something we must expect and reconcile ourselves to when planning our lives or contemplating history books. And sometimes, in this process of moving from error to error, we will find a new solution that manages to synthesize the good qualities of the previous solutions to make something really new and different and better. For art has a purpose.
I mean, I agree with that, right? That you can't really, in one fell swoop, you're not going to be able to get everything right, you know? Right? You're not going to be able to, like, engineering, right? Isn't going to, on the first alpha, you're not going to have the best one. You're going to have to iteratively improve something. So it's kind of like swinging between one problem and another, and idea and another. So, okay. I don't understand how this is a complete dunk on empiricism. I don't understand what he was talking about.
Hegel vigorously rejected the idea of art for art's sake. Painting, music, architecture, literature, and design all have a major job to do. We need them so that important insights can become powerful and helpful in our lives. Art is, in Hegel's formulation, the sensuous presentation of ideas. Just knowing ideas often leaves us cold. For example, in theory, we believe that conflict in Syria is an important one. In practice, however, we just switch off. In principle, we know we should be more forgiving to our partners, but this abstract conviction gets forgotten at the least provocation. The point of art, Hegel realized, is not so much to come up with startlingly new or strange ideas, but to take the good, helpful, important thoughts we already think we know and make them stick more imaginatively in our minds. 5.
I can see that.
We need new institutions. Hegel took a...
You know what's so funny, dude? This is why I hate philosophy, like genuinely. Because I try to be so empathetic, like with what the philosopher's trying to say. You know, I'm trying to like be in their mind space and their brain as they're thinking these. So I'm like genuinely trying to like see what they're saying, you know? And then whenever I read a philosopher, I inevitably kind of come to the conclusion, I'm like, yeah, I do agree with this. So we were taking this philosophy of science class, and it was like every chapter that I'm reading, I'm like, oh, yeah, I agree with this guy. No, actually, I do agree with this guy. I agree with this guy. It's like, I don't know, because I really try to embody what they believe. And if they're a philosopher, they're basically kind of like making a case with their, they're kind of like a lawyer, right? They're trying to like make their case for why their version of reality is actually real. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, you know that, yeah. Which I think that you would want to do, right? You would want to give the best case for each of the philosophers that you're reading in order to kind of be open to that idea. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, so you would disagree with that sentiment with art. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess his idea is that you take ideas and reinforce narratives as opposed to come up with like brand new ideas all right there. I don't know. I guess I can see both. I mean, abstract art, I guess, what is that? I guess in his the Hegel view would be like abstract ideas that you're trying to reinforce as opposed to like trying out new ways that faces can be arranged, like Picasso or something.
A very positive view of institutions and of the power they can wield. This was a point Hegel made again and again in different ways. For ideas to be active and effective in the world, a lot more is needed than that ideas are simply correct. To make major truths powerful in society, they need employees and buildings and budgets and legal advisors. Institutions allow for the scale of time and power that big projects need to become effective in the world.
Sure.
So, as new needs of a society get recognized, they should ideally lead not just to new books, but to the formation of new institutions.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we might say we need major new institutions to focus on relationships, consumer education, career choice, mood management, and how to bring up less damaged children. Hegel helps us to see valuable insights where we might initially resist them. In art, in institutions, in the ideas of our enemies, and in the strange mistakes of the past. His insight is that growth requires the clash of divergent ideas, and therefore that it will be painful and slow. But at least once we know that...
Oh, is this... maybe that's where we found... Where I was reading painful and slow as opposed to like new paradigm shifting. I think that was... Man, I forget... Was it like Popper that believed in like new paradigms that were like overwhelming, and Hegel was more about having a slow progress being made. Interesting. All right. Later, Dabbot. Have a good one, man. Coon. That's it. Coon. Thank you, Heather. Yeah. Again, I don't really. I'm not trying to sound narcissistic, but I'd rather usually try to think of things on my own rather than like just eat slop from a philosopher. So like I try to think about something and then I'm like, oh, okay, I want to think about that on my own terms. If I can't think of it on my own or rationalize through it, then I don't feel like that is really my belief. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
This, we don't have to compound our troubles by thinking them abnormal. Hegel gives us a more accurate and hence more manageable view of ourselves, our difficulties, and where we are in history.
Huh. Yeah. This is awful. It's awful. I don't know what to think. Oh, it's dangerous. Hegel, A Complete Guide to History. Oh my gosh, a 2-hour video. Why Hegel knew there would be days like these. Hegel versus empiricism. Hegel versus empiricism. Here we go. Perfect. There it is. A Complete Guide to History. Why would you not watch the complete guide? You know what I mean? Like, what, are you really going to click on the incomplete? Like, I really don't know. I don't know which one I am, guys. I legit. This is it. We're figuring out who I am. I'm still, I don't know. I'm open. You know what I mean? I'm open. I'm an open book. I'm learning. I don't know which camp I'm in.
There have been places and periods of history when only a congenital optimist could have had any hope for the future of our species. Think of the end of Athens' golden age, the fall of the Roman Empire, the petering out of the Renaissance, the end of the Enlightenment, the rise of fascism. It's when...
Imagine that. Imagine. This is 8 years ago, 2017. Wow.
When things look bleak indeed, that it pays to remember the German 19th century philosopher Hegel. In his lectures on the philosophy of world history, published in 1830, Hegel offered us a way of looking at the darker periods of history that neither glosses over their pain nor refuses to give up hope, but intelligently helps us to understand why human progress cannot be linear, while encouraging us to trust that it does occur nevertheless. For Hegel, history moves forward in what he termed a dialectical way. A dialectic is a philosophical term for...
I wonder how Marx figure, because I wonder, because Marx is all about dialectics. So I'm very curious how that would work.
Or an argument made up of 3 parts: a thesis, an antithesis, and a synthesis. Both the thesis and the antithesis contain parts of the truth, but they are also exaggerations and distortions of the whole, and so need to clash and interact until their best elements find resolution in a synthesis. One cannot, in short, get there in one leap. Hegel thought this pattern constantly observable in history. The world makes progress by lurching from one extreme to another as it seeks to overcompensate for a previous mistake, and generally requires 3 moves before the right balance on any issue can be found. So, for example, the ancient Athenians discovered the idea of individual liberty, but their regime was blind to the need for collective discipline and organization. The ancient Persians knew all about that, and were thereby able to conquer the Athenians on the battlefield. Yet they were also despotic enemies of free thought, which with time became its own liability. It took many centuries for the correct synthesis between liberty and discipline
Mackenzie, did you see those drawings? I'm like, jeez, how is that on YouTube, dude? What's going on?
To be worked out in the form of the Roman Empire. In Hegel's own era, the stifling, unfair 18th century system of inherited...
Look at it, and it's the most replayed version. Everyone kept going back to that.
Traditional monarchy had been abolished by the French Revolution, but what should have been the peaceful birth of representative government ended up in the anarchy and chaos of the Terror. This, in turn, led to the emergence of Napoleon, who restored order but became a military brute, trampling on the liberty he had professed to love. Only after 40 years and much bloodshed did the modern balanced constitution emerge, an arrangement which more sensibly balanced up popular representation with the rights of minorities. Or, to take another example, the European Enlightenment had stressed the importance of reason, but it had in many parts been sterile and reductive. The movement known as Romanticism had then swept in to assert the importance of emotion, but this had carried excesses of its own. Only eventually had a correct reconciliation been worked out between the legitimate competing needs of reason and emotion. Hegel's argument has a highly reassuring feel at moments when it seems that one kind of progress has been entirely lost. He is on hand to reassure us that we're merely seeing the pendulum swing back for a time, but also wisely counselled that this was needed because the initial move forward had been blind to a range of crucial insights. All sides on a matter will contain important truths lodged amidst exaggeration and bombast. Yet these truths will eventually be sifted out through the wisdom of time. Hegel reminds us that big overreactions are eminently compatible with events broadly moving forward in the right direction. The dark moments aren't the end. They are a challenging, but even in some ways necessary parts of an antithesis that will eventually find a wiser point of synthesis.
Okay, I got it at the last end. I didn't understand like 4 minutes of that 4 minute and 30. I am very. I got nothing. I got nothing of that. That whole that ending, that conclusion. I was like, okay, I understand what he's talking about here, but I didn't follow anything else. I'm like, what is going on? I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, it's so, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get the philosophy stuff. I don't understand it. I'm happy that people do. I don't get it. I don't know. So, like, I wonder how his idea on dialectic and dialectical materialism for Marx works together. Right? I'm curious how that works. But I don't know. Hegel versus empiricism.
Hegel is going to claim not only that minimal awareness takes in sense universals, so sense repeatables of various degrees of determinateness, not merely the fully determinate, but that also part of what's given in the sensation is not just the simple differences between sensory repeatables, but also the exclusive differences between them. That is, he's going to claim it's part of what you take in just by being able to see red and blue, that you know that nothing can be both red and blue at the same time. That's part of what you know by just seeing red and blue. Whereas, so the sense in which those are different is different from the sense in which red and square are different. Those are different features of a visual field, if you like. But it's part of what you take in when you take in square and red, that something can be both red and square. Whereas when you take in red and blue, the claim is going to be it's part of
exactly. I found
that sensory experience, that those are exclusive properties. And this is indeed a different way of thinking about sort of minimal sensory experience than any of the empiricists had. It is, if you like, a Tractarian way of thinking about it, where none of the basic, I'll say, properties exclude one another. That's the way the empiricists thought about it. That modal structure is not in experience, but Hegel's going to argue it is. And a question that's worth thinking about is, what sort of a question is that? Is that an empirical question? Is that something where just by sort of staring at something red and something blue, one should be able to decide whether part of what you're experiencing is that nothing could be both of them? Or is that something that's added by us, as Hume is bound to insist? Hume can't allow that there's any difference between the difference we perceive between red and blue and the difference we perceive between red and square. It's just a matter of constant conjunction. We've never seen anything that was red and blue both, whereas we have seen things that were red and square.
Okay.
But the modal oomph, that's not possible, Hume can't allow as part of the experience. And Hegel's going to say, but it is part of the experience. The experience would not count as contentful in even the most minimal way unless it included those exclusive differences.
I don't get it. I got nothing. I got nothing out of that, guys. I'm like single digit IQ. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm this bad at this. I have no idea.
Welcome once again.
I am so sad. I don't know what to say, guys. I'm so sorry. I got nothing. I don't know. I said, okay, so to synthesize, okay, using a new term, to synthesize that the difference between red and blue is going to be different than red and square, and we haven't observed anything red and blue together at the same time, but we have observed things that are red and square. I guess I don't understand what it is. Exactly, F1. Like I don't. Guys, I don't know. Like, explain it to me like I'm 5. You know what I mean? I don't understand. You're synthesizing the objective truth and your perception. With which one, Siggy? With which one? How is it different than empiricism and Hegelism? Like, that's the trick.
Can you also maybe define rationalism?
Yeah, these are two terms that are in philosophy, especially in epistemology, they're often compared to one another. Yaron said that it's that it's a false dichotomy, and maybe it is a bit exaggerated, but that doesn't mean it's not useful for conceptualizing the domain. So, a rationalist is somebody like Descartes who says, I'm going to try to set aside everything I know, everything I've inherited. I'm going to start from scratch.
Yeah. And
he explicitly says, in evaluating the inheritance of the past, he explicitly says, you take a look at the histories that we have, they're not reliable. You take a look at the moral and the scientific writings that we receive, they're not very good. His baseline is to look very critically at the past and say, look, I'm evaluating it. I think all in all, it's just not worth very much.
Okay.
And so whatever I do, beginning from scratch, is going to be better as long as, and here's his caveat, he says, as long as I'm proceeding from self-evident assumptions, from self-evident premises, things that you can't argue against.
I think, therefore I am.
Right, and then from there deducing what he called.
I mean, that's the kind of what I was talking about. That's what I was kind of talking about, F1, where it's like, if I can't synthesize the knowledge myself and I can't bring together and like make those steps forward myself, then it's like I don't truly understand anything. So therefore, how can I conceptualize and live in the past on things, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I've never really gotten into philosophy, because it's just like doesn't really make that much sense to me, because it's like I can't understand the context. I need to be able to understand and realize and form these ideas on my own. How I need those building blocks first here. So it's acceptable that you discard those things. What am I discarding, Siggy? The past? History? I'm not trying.
Some results.
What? No, but I'm trying to things you can't prove yourself. No, I think that you can. Obviously, there's like knowledge that is out there that I don't have yet, right? That I can learn about the world. But like, I'm talking about in terms of like understanding how to think, or like my political philosophy or a philosophy of science and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it is, Lex Rubin.
Paul's infallible conclusions. So that model of self-evident premises to infallible conclusions, I'm calling that rationalism. I think that's kind of a standard, academic jargon term, and it's opposed to empiricism, which is a thinker. I think in universities usually the empiricist is David Hume, and David Hume will say we can't learn anything the way that Descartes said. I mean, there is nothing that's that self-evident and that infallible. So Hume proposes, based on Newton and Boyle and the new physical sciences. So Hume proposes a science of man, and the science of man sounds an awful lot like what Yaron just said, which is we're going to take a look at human nature, at the nature of societies. Human nature, we're going to try to abstract towards fixed principles for describing it. Human societies, we're going to try to do the same thing. And from there we get, for example, contemporary economics, but we also get, sociology and anthropology, which cut in a different direction. So that's rationalism versus empiricism.
I got nothing, guys. This isn't so embarrassing. I've got nothing. I'm so sorry. It's all, how do we determine the truth and what do we know about it given our limitations? Agreed. Yeah, I think, how do we determine the truth? I would say it has to be outside of me, because I can't be the arbiter of truth, because I could have like a brain aneurysm or something, and I could be out of my mind literally and be hallucinating something. So I can't be the final arbiter of what is true or not. It has to be like a shared experience outside of like just me. And then something that I can reproduce through the scientific method, basically, observation, and then form a hypothesis, test it, and then reproduce that. But how do we ensure objectivity and communicate that? How do we obtain objectivity of that third party process? Yeah. Multiple people doing it, different methods, different ideas, different routes of understanding something. How do we, and then we communicate that. Transparency, experimentation, I would say. I don't know. Because if you're saying this is red, how would I know we're thinking of the same thing? Because you could measure the wavelengths and stuff like that. You could, like, a red would be a wavelength color. You know what I mean? You would have, if it's a color, then I would be thinking in terms of like, well, we know that things are what they are because of light bouncing off of them. So then we can measure if we don't know what the wavelength of red is, we could measure that in a spectrophotometer to see what the absorbance is of that thing. And then we have a wavelength that we could then reproduce in other different ways. I mean, I had this in my PhD actually, because it's like we had the nanoparticles that would be fluorescent in different wavelengths based off of the conjugation that you did. It would emit a color that we don't know what color they are. So I'd have to go through the spectrophotometer, and I'd have to measure that, and then I would get the absorbance, excitation, and the emission, those two wavelengths, and then I used that in order to put it into the confocal microscope in order to understand what is that nanoparticle. So then I could reproduce that, and those nanoparticles are then that in all those other contexts, and it's reproduced, right? Well, we can't be sure we're experiencing the same thing like we are experiencing something. Yeah, it's kind of incompatible with science for these reasons. What's incompatible with science? I'm sorry, Siggy. I know that you're typing, but I'm Hegelian? Oh no, guys. Oh no. And you of all people know that even though that's the best we can do, some people prefer their own beliefs. True. Oh no. By the majority, if 10 people say it's red and 1 say it's orange, I would say it doesn't matter the name that we associate with it. It's the wavelength that we associate with it. So it doesn't matter the reference, the referential communication, the color that we associate with it. It's like, what wavelength is it? What nanometer is it? Right? Interesting. Cool. I don't know. Like you might see blue as your red. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There might be like something wrong with my eyes or something like that. I could have color blindness, for example. And in that example, there could be 7 colorblind people out of the 8 that are colorblind. That just could be the what it is. Yeah, but it's an unreliable communication. Oh, the wavelength is unreliable communication? How do you ensure message is received as intended? I guess you would use the name and the reference for the most amount of people. How do you measure, how do you ensure message is received as intended in someone's mind? How do I know that it's red? I guess you could use different feelings on something. Like what you feel when you see what the color red is? Like, so is that what you're saying? It's not just a wavelength. It's like red is like an emotion that could be something, what you feel when you see red. But their understanding of it could always differ aside from that symbol. Huh. Yeah, exactly, Island. Yeah. Red, anger, warmth. But those are just things that I associate with the color red. Right? Red hot. Blushing. Our perception of the wavelength 440 could be different across brains interpreting that red. Okay. You're agreeing it's the same thing without a real knowable guarantee. Huh. Yeah, blood is another one. It doesn't matter if you see green when I see red, as long as we both agree blood is red. Oh, that's an interesting point. Our perception of the wavelength could be different across brains. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, Michelle, because like color blindness and stuff too, right? Like we don't know that your red experience is the same as my red experience, even though it's still the red wavelength. Okay, that makes sense. How do we tell, how do we do this with AI? How do we teach the large language model like what red is? How does that happen? But the Phil bros are really introducing a lot of toxicity, especially with our distrust in the press now. Yeah, exactly. See, so AI doesn't know and can't know what red is as a human because they don't have the human experience. Okay, that makes sense. We can only teach it to repeat to us what we think it is. Yeah, that makes sense. Exactly, Siggy. Yeah, because we don't know what how it is. They're working on the state of AI. I'm currently working on it's a narrow interface. Oh, interesting. Yeah, exactly, Skog. That's what I would think too, because it's like, well, red would just be what we associate with red in a contextual form across everything that it knows, right? So it would just all the language that's surrounding the color red in that context is then what red is. Hi, Voice of Velvet. Yeah, I have something going on at like 5 a.m. tomorrow, so I can't really stream tonight, so we're just doing an early stream. Yeah, yes, I agree. I agree. It is very silly. Perception isn't in the data set. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, user, for real. Yeah, Iggy, exactly. I totally agree. Huh. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Siggy Cam, I agree. Interesting, guys. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess. There you go, Island. Yeah. I don't know how philosophers make money. Yeah, Siggy, for real. I don't get it either. It all seems kind of just like reductionary. Like it just seems very pedantic, and you're like, I don't know how it will change my way of thinking. I feel like I'm just kind of like in this gear, and it just is what it is, you know? And it's like, I don't know, knowing this, I don't know if I would ever change the way I'm thinking. Is that what happens? Do people like philosophers like think like, oh, how would this think? I guess you would have to, right? You'd think like, how would I adjust a scenario in this way of thinking with this line of thinking and this line of thinking? I guess I just think about like experimentation and how to understand the world like in the best experiments possible so that I could like have it be more reproducible, not as I guess it's like recontextualizing and thinking about it in the observation stage versus like the molecular methods and the materials and methods section. You know what I mean? Any exercises with thought exercises improve your ability to understand, though, right? Yeah, I can see that. I guess, like, man, I feel like people can get, like, delusional, though. Like, how do we know anything? And, you know, then it's all kind of the same, and it just kind of gets so reductionary that you just throw it out your hands up, and it's like, well, how do we know anything kind of thing. I guess that's like a nihilistic approach, and that's not necessarily the conclusion of this. Operator's caution. Oh, interesting. That's what Ahego also says. Oh no, Evan. Oh no. Okay. Oh my god, that's so funny. I have a question. This new H2N3 wave of influenza, is there something serious going on? I mean, it's definitely not great. There's definitely something happening. There's a dialectic between Japan and Australia and UK that gives us a synthesis of anti-thesis bad malady, and we have synthesized new realities of a okay, sorry. There's a lot of stuff going in, like Australia, Japan, UK, that kind of like forms our ideas and like what's happening right now. So we kind of see it happening. So it's not great. That's definitely not great. But the flu is basically it came out. This strain actually came out after the vaccine. So unfortunately, it's going to be past that. So yeah. We're gonna have to. I guess we are gonna intro to epistemology. I guess so. I guess we should go epistemology. I don't know. Ask a philosophy. Epistemology. Where to start? Gettier cases. Where are the Gettier cases? Gettier cases. Oh no, philosophical Gettier problem. Oh no. They challenge the long-held justified true belief account of knowledge. The GTB, which is the justified true belief account, holds that knowledge is equivalent to justified true belief if all three conditions, justification, truth, and belief, are met in a given claim, then there is knowledge of that claim. In his 1963 three-page paper called Is Justified True Belief Knowledge?, Gettier attempts to illustrate by means of two counterexamples that are cases where individuals can have a justified true belief regarding a claim but still fail to know it because the reasons of the belief, while justified, turn out to be false. Thus, Gettier claims to have shown that the GTB account is inadequate because it does not account for all the necessary and sufficient... Whew. Dang. Oh God. Oh no, this is literally those things. Oh my gosh. Oh no, guys. Like this is my brain like just does not is not capable of this stuff. I don't know what it like the if P is true, if this was true, I really have to think about like stuff. I really have to go over it. Wow. An OpenStax module. Wow. Interesting, Efon. Knowledge as justified. Subject S knows that a proposition P is true if and only if P is true. And okay, so you have to P has to be true if it is true, right? And S believes that P is true. Is S a person or a belief? Oh no, S is that person. Okay, subject. S is subject. S believes that P is true. Okay. It has to be, should that make sense? And S is justifying in believing that P is true. Okay. Oh yeah, dude. This is guys. I don't know what to tell you. Let us suppose that the Smith sees the entailment from D to E and accepts E on the grounds of D. Like I'm out. I'm out. I don't know. I don't know. What's funny is that this is my problem, guys. Is that I had a lot of these in like this law class that I like to try to pass the patent bar, and like a lot of these questions, I am like just my brain is just not for it. I don't know what it is. I'm like, I don't know what it is, and there's so many of these logic principles and questions, and it's so hard. Yeah, I found it everywhere, and the questions for the patent bar, and I'm just like my brain. I'm like, it sucks, guys. Being older sucks. Like I'm 39 now, and I feel like my brain is like concrete. Like I'm all tapped out. Like I don't feel like I learn anything anymore. I've assimilated all the knowledge, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not kidding though, guys. I'm not kidding. It's so hard to learn stuff now. I genuinely, like in jujitsu and stuff. Like they'll be saying and doing something, and I'm watching them do it, and I'm like, and they're like, okay, break, and then do it, and then I go to my partner, and I'm like, bro, I got nothing. I have no idea what we're supposed to do right now. Like I don't know what is going on right now. I don't know. I don't understand how Scott, I'm not good at languages too. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me philosophy is a language, because then I don't understand it either. I'm even worse. I mean, I'm down, guys. If you guys want to explore, if you guys want to learn more about this, I know nothing about this. I am like an infant on this. I love that. That's not age, that's parenting. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Siggy Cam. Thank you. I guys, I'm really not. I am below average intelligence. I'm just really gritty and stubborn. That's literally the only enduring characteristic that I have. I'm just very stubborn as a person, and that's really it. So I don't know what it is, but that really is it. I'm not trying to fish for compliments. Because I've especially with stuff like this, I'm like, bro, there's no way. I'm out. You know what I mean? All right, let's watch it. This is 12 minutes. Philosophy vibe. Maybe animation. Animation good. Animation good for brain. I don't know, guys. I don't know. And maybe it helps to think of it as lore instead of waiting for it to click. Yeah, Siggy Cam. I think it's like, I need like a story. You know what I mean? Like when it's a story or something, I can understand it. When it's just like logical argument, like if A then C then D, like for that, then it's like I need, like give me like an output or something. You know what I mean? I need to like see it flow. I need to like see, I don't know, that I need to like see something. there's no like tangible like grasping of philosophy. You know what I mean? This is one of the things that I love about biology and my biologist, because like there is something in the world that exists and I need to like understand it, and I can get more of it because I can understand what the properties of it, and I can figure out why it's living, how it's changed over time, you know, through evolution. I can like observe it in nature. Like it's much easier for me to grasp as a biologist. And, you know, these like a perception or a way of thinking is so abstract that it's really, really, really hard for me to understand. Cool, Skog. You're just trying to understand how they're thinking of it, not feel internal congruence. Huh. It's the linear logic. Huh. I saw Dr. Blitz trying to use this, but he had loads of error. Oh, on what? You tried to use what? I try to watch Ian's debates all the time, and I'm lost. Like he'll have like a 10-point logical statement why God is not real, and I'm like, maybe it is, dude. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't get it. The whole point is to introduce other POVs, so it makes sense. It would feel unfamiliar. Okay. All right, then maybe that makes me feel better than Siggy Cam, because it's like, I guess I've never thought about it this way. So then that you know, nobody's good at the first time thinking about it. So first time doing something, and I really haven't taken a philosophy class. I never took a philosophy class ever as a hard scientist. I've never, in college I never did. I just didn't, you know. So I took, like, when we were in 2021 streaming world, you know, like, and everything was shut down because of the pandemic, like I did a philosophy of science class, and that was really like my first like college level graduate class that we took, and he was awesome. He was honestly really cool. He was like a professor, and we just took his philosophy of science class basically, and it was awesome. It was really, really cool. So but yeah, I'd never encountered or really thought or used it before. Cinema and creative writing. Yes, Cog, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, me too, Siggy Cam. It didn't work for me. So I'm not any better. I'm not better off than it, man. I've had my reality shatter like a glass ball against the wall and not been able to put the pieces back together, but it's not helping me right now, dude. Oh, man. Oh, wow, Skog. Yeah, I think like I would love more. Would have loved more philosophy and sociology in my undergrad years. But honestly, dude, I was so like, oh, why do I need to take anything but hard sciences? Like, I'm a biologist. I only want to take hard sciences, and I kind of like looked down on like the soft sciences for a really long time, you know. And it's not until now that I really understand like sociology, like the study of like how culture and misinformation kind of like spread, and you know, I'm interested in that now. You know, and philosophy was kind of just like wishy-washy for me, you know, and so I'd much rather during those times think about like brain development or like brain signaling or functional MRIs of like how the brain works and that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly, Skog. Yeah. At the time, it looked just like reading the slides and there's no words or pictures. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I agree, Siggy Cam. If you guys wanted, I think we could totally dive more. We could totally down. I mean, it's definitely something that I don't understand and I'm down to learn. I'm curious about. Or Bioethics, like, yeah, I mean, we could talk about bioethics more. I mean, yeah, for sure. I'm always down to think about new stuff and to learn new things. I mean, ethics, like, I've ever since CRISPR came on board, there's a lot more ethics discussion within the scientific community. So, like, I think we're better off than we were, but I'm not like, boom, like I know what to say and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I agree, Michelle. I agree. For mine, so UCSD actually has like six different colleges within UCSD. So so yeah, there was I was on one that like required you were required to take upper division classes outside of your major. So I did do that, but I did Latin American literature, and I did political science. So those are both incredible classes that one of some of my favorites. They were absolutely incredible. Yeah, we read The Death of Artemio Cruz, which is an incredible book. Also, my upper division political science class, which honestly helped me formulate a lot of my political philosophy, was called Democracy and Its Critics. So it just basically went through all the different types of governments that have existed over history and how they exist and their constitutions, and they kind of like really deconstructed my politics down to like a level that I never thought was possible, and then kind of like allowed me to assimilate my own political philosophy going forward. So I freaking loved it. It was really, really cool. We had to take a theory of archaeology. Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, Nightflyer. I'm same. That's why it's so cool actually to learn while I'm like streaming, because it's like it's just cool to like dip into different fields. I love to learn a lot of different types of stuff. So, I kind of like hop around a lot, especially in science. I hop around a lot. Dude, for me too, Siggy Cam, for real. Everyone's a nihilist nowadays. It's so crazy. I guess I'm just like I try to be an optimist. Like there's already enough like depressing things going on in my life that I don't need to like be nihilistic on top of it. Like, God. Oh, nice, Miss Cake. I like that. The nature of knowledge. Yeah. Me too, Siggy Cam. That's a great way to put it. I try to stay positive, but I'm so mad a lot of times. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that was fun. I think I'm down. We can go into oh, nice. Nice, Miss Cake. Thank you, Michelle. All right, real quick, guys. Let's go down epistemology and stuff another time. I'm going to take off. Shout outs real quick. Just want to thank the super fans. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to all the Patreons. Brian F., Helen, Lou, Mrs. Dr. G, Russell Bowden from YouTube. Appreciate you, man. Oh, cheers, man. Nice, dude. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, welcome in, dude. Input, output. bio and politics right in my lane. Cheers. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, input output 3414. Mrs. Dr. G, Russell Bowden, Ado, Call Me Ness, Rapture, MB Human, Meg, Dave M. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Thank you guys to the all-time supporters of the channel, the stream. Thank you so much. Kathleen, Aeronautical, Sheepdoodle, Reg Mayan, Marliston, Efon, The Miller 2024, Susie M, Vecchio, and Allie. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, to the mods. We should put that in there too. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thanks for everyone like talking me through that. That was fun. Thank you to the top gifters of the day, Ducray, Island Time Soap, Night Flyer. Thank you to all the likers. Thank you for 100, 1,000. User 8007 6233 76315. Thank you, Island Time and Efon and Ducray. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. That was a fun one. We got into it. Some interesting spots. Tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night for sure. We'll do tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night. Hey, user, you know what? If you're the top liker or the top gifter, you get your full name. You get your full name every time. So there you go. Thanks, guys. That was a crazy one. That's crazy that random dude's troll comment might actually have a huge impact on the forward, the future of the stream. I love that. Hey, we learn at any opportunity. You know what I mean? Even the trolls. Hey, that's so Hegel. Isn't that Hegel or what? Taking the troll comment and learning off of it? That has to be a Hegel thing, right? That has to be. That has to be. That has to be. Thanks, Eflon. Thank you. Thank you. Learning more about myself every day. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good day. I appreciate you. Stay kind. Love one another. Bye. YouTube, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you.